All right. Well, how you guys doing today?
I'm alright, man. How's it going?
I'm doing great. So what are we talking about in here today?
Some bants on Twitter, weren't you?
Yeah, I lose track of all the retarded shit that people say to me though, so I'm not sure. What are we going in? What are we going in on this time?
Well, it was mainly freedom of speech, because the original argument that we had originally was in regards to censorship.
Do you remember what the disagreement was about? What about it?
Yeah, the tweet that you made was something. I'm totally against censorship, but and then you were sort of praising some guy who got his Twitter account taken down, and it's just obviously any statement that ends with the term "but" is obviously a lie. And then even today as well, when you sent a tweet to me saying that you were pro free speech and you were pro this and pro that, but then in the next tweet you says that even though you used to have an anti-censorship stance, you literally says that you would want me and the rest of the skeptic community, who apparently I'm a part of, as you and your fans keep saying, you would be quite happy if they all get taken off Twitter.
Yeah, so I used to be. So the reason why I was surprised at what you're saying, I'm not sure what tweet you're originally referring to. I may have laughed at somebody getting their Twitter taken down. I usually don't. I was pretty anti-deplatforming of pretty much everybody. When Sargon's Twitter went down, I think I expressed condolences, and Sargon even thanked me on Twitter. And that's generally the stance that I've had with most people. Those views have changed recently, so I was just kind of curious what we were talking about in the past, where supposedly I was like really anti-free speech, because I'm one of the most, or at least I was one of the most like stringent, like free speech-esque guys that I had ever known on Twitter, like even compared to right-leaning people. Well, most right-leaning people are oftentimes very hypocritical of it, because they launch like anti-flagging, like harassment flag campaigns against YouTube videos and shit, while simultaneously decrying the left for doing it. So, but yeah, I just
primarily the alt-right who do that. The alt-right are known for doing that. As far as I know, people from the, for example, alt-right or just your standard conservatives, they're not really known for that.
Yeah, maybe, but they all run in the same crowds and everything, especially these days. So
they don't really, though.
Okay, all I know is that I see like Richard Spencer and Andy Warski all hanging together, and Andy Warski going on like the Daily Show and shit. So it kind of makes me wonder. And then people like Lauren Southern, who I wouldn't consider alt-right, or at least I don't think so, are friends with people kind of like Nick Fuentes and James Allsup. So it gets a little jumbled for me, I guess. But
I think it's because like. On the right side of politics, people are still friends with each other, even if they have differing opinions. Whereas on the left, there's the most infighting in regards to politics happens on the left, big time, because they like to purity test each other a hell of a lot.
I'm sure people on the left do that, and that's a problem with people on the left, but I'm not talking about being friends with. I'm talking about not calling out the views of. So, for instance, if I take a skeptical centrist and I look at their YouTube channel and the entirety of their body of work is just laughing at pink-haired Tumblerinas and SJWs, it kind of leaves me wondering what their political alignment is.
Maybe it's just we find people like that funny and ridiculous.
I mean, I guess there's plenty of people on the right that you could find funny and ridiculous, but for some reason
they're not quite as ridiculous as the far left.
Trump is pretty fucking hilarious, my dude. I mean, unless you're like so concerned with finding people on Twitter or crying in YouTube videos, if that's like the entirety of your content. I mean, I don't know. I think there's a lot of right-leaning people that are pretty funny, but the whole Roy Moore shit was really funny too, but I don't see anybody in the skeptosphere, making fun of the fact that the DNC threw their support again behind a guy that was backed by Bannon and not even the Republican Party. But I mean, it's
just that Laura Loomer does get made fun of. There was an entire stream just last night where literally every single person was ripping into her. Like,
who, me?
Everyone. Like, Laura Loomer obviously is right wing. She's a known conservative. And even Andy Warski, in the middle of the stream, was screaming at her, literally calling her a raging cunt over and over again, which personally I thought was fucking fantastic. But like, there are people on the right who all disagree with each other as well. It's just on the right, they're obviously a lot more civilized about it.
The right is more civilized.
Yeah, because the right don't turn up to rallies and throw petrol bombs and bricks and smash buildings and stuff like that.
Oh, that's strange. Yeah, I thought all the data and stats that I'd seen had made it seem like there was more extremist violence on the right than the left in the U.S. right now. I could look up similar numbers for Europe. I'm not sure what it's like in Europe, but
hold on. So you've obviously seen the footage of rallies. Then are you trying to say that the right wing are far more violent than Antifa or the Black Bloc as a whole?
So when I try to draw my opinions about which side is more violent, I don't look at footage of a rally. I try to look at numbers and data. When you try to evaluate which side is more violent, do you just look at YouTube videos or do you actually look at numbers?
I look at the actual footage of how they conduct themselves in public. Yeah, I think actual footage of the way they truly do act in reality itself is a very good indication of how they act in reality itself.
So you think that watching a couple videos of a few rallies is more representative of reality?
I've seen hundreds.
You've seen every single rally. You've watched every single rally that's in multiple points of footage, in multiple points of view of every type of rally, of all the right-wing ones, of all.
I don't recall saying that, Stephen.
Okay.
Have you obviously looked at every single piece of data then? If you just
no, I can't look at every. So that's why I usually look at like data and numbers to draw conclusions because I don't have the time.
So basically, then that would mean that your point, if you're trying to say my point is invalid, then also so is yours. If you've not looked at every single piece of data to back yours up, and you're trying to use that against me as well. You can laugh if you want. I'm fucking correct in what I'm saying.
No, you're fucking stupid. I can't even believe. I knew I should have had this conversation.
Hey, there it is. There's the destiny. There he is.
Wait, okay. So, so let's say.
Did you just get me at a point? You're fucking stupid, man.
No, I mean, like, I'm sorry. My mind is blown. So you're telling me that if two people walk into a room and one guy goes, hey, so, I was looking at some facts and figures about, the amount of extremist violence that has been occurring, on the left and right in the United States. Let's talk about it. And the other guy goes, oh, well, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about rallies. You think that both of their opinions are equally valid?
Not about rallies, Stephen. I've seen footage of the actual rallies.
YouTube videos. Yeah. So you think that opinion gives you a valid...
It doesn't matter if it's a YouTube video. It doesn't matter if it's a video on the news. If you're watching an actual literal video, I don't think the place it's being hosted in matters. If you're watching actual videos of events that happened in real life, I don't think where the video is hosted is even a factor in its validity. Right? I'm sorry, like, see how I've seen footage of the rallies, like I follow people that film everything at the rallies. I do see the right fighting back, and I have seen some instances of the right instigating it, but see the vast majority of the time, most of the violence by far is Antifa and the Black Bloc. They're the ones that cause the violence, they're the ones that antagonise, they're the ones that come up with their faces covered in shit, fucking dressed for war, man. Right, they're the ones that actually cause the fucking violence. Look at Berkeley. There was a few right-wingers that went to go there to, like, see Milo and see him talk and stuff like that. And, like, look what happened with the fires. And
look at what happened with the woman getting hit by the car. And there's been plenty of there's more right-leaning extremist violence in the United States over the past few years than...
Two wrongs don't make a right, Stephen. Two wrongs don't make a right. Yes, people on the right wing...
Who said that two wrongs make a right? I never said two wrongs make a right.
You were trying... See, just turning around and going, oh, well, they do this bad thing too.
No, I'm saying that they do it more. The original thing we're talking about isn't whether or not...
The right wing do not do it more.
In the United States?
In the United States, no, they don't do it more. They definitely don't do it more in Europe either. See, if you think Antifa and the Black Bloc in the States are bad, the Antifa and Black Bloc in the States are fucking pussies compared to the Europeans. They are fucking hardcore. They're like the mafia over there almost.
Do you want to go over some data points, or do you not care because you watched YouTube videos, or?
No, it's fine. It's like I've obviously actually provided you with actual physical evidence, but it's okay then. Obviously, my data doesn't matter. No, my data doesn't matter.
No, they don't. Your individual ideas and individual videos you've watched don't matter. They don't mean anything.
It's not an individual idea. All right, then.
It doesn't matter if you've watched 100 videos. That's not how data collection works. That's not how intelligent people form opinions.
All right. Obviously, yeah. Stephen Bunnell is an extraordinarily, unfathomably intelligent man. So
no, I just have a basic understanding of why data collection is important and why statistics matter and what cognitive biases are.
Data collection obviously is important. By the way, I'm agreeing with you that the right does do violent things. They absolutely do. What I'm claiming is nowhere near on the scale of the far left. And we were originally supposed to be talking about free speech, but obviously... this is where we've diverted yourself, so flick through the tabs that you already had open there before you came into the stream and give me the data that you want to give me.
If you're going to give data, I'm going to pound through some super chats if you need a second.
Yeah, knock yourself out with the super chats.
$5 from King Kamala. We must secure our existence for doggos and the future of pug pups. $2 from Alki Mama. Laura brought new meaning to gaslighting. Jesus Christ. $5 from The Guardian. All the data on the left and the right in the U.S. Islam is the leading cause of terrorism in the world, followed by communism. Stop lying, Destiny. If that's from The Guardian.
Followed by communism in the 2000s? What? Okay.
Yeah, it literally is the
Adam,
second cause of terrorism in the world, yeah. And that's backed by data, Destiny. Yeah, that's literally backed by data.
Yeah.
You love data, don't you, Destiny?
You guys go ahead. I'll wait.
No, go for it. Knock yourself out.
No, go ahead.
£2 from Adam. Starland, Destiny is a mental midget. This is embarrassing. $5 from Pop TV. Destiny is 8. $5 from The Guardian. Destiny, Dankula doesn't live in the U.S. Your opinion on just the U.S. doesn't matter in the overall impact of the world stage. Check your bias. And where's Destiny's sources? It's not the ADL, Right Wing Watch. And Bert Bobain, observation is how we obtain data. Nice.
Who just wait? What? Observation is how we obtain data? That's not true.
Is not how we obtain data. Sorry, I read that wrong.
Thank you.
It does seem as if looking up all these data points and observing the differences that happen on YouTube videos are still. It still counts.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It's a negative. It doesn't. It counts against you for reasons that I can explain if you want to get into it. But yes, it counts against you.
Looking at actual footage of an event doesn't verify that event. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay then.
If it's an event that's happening and it's online and you can see it happening, does that not count?
Does it need to be live? Would you actually need to be present there for it to count?
I'm just trying to decide if I want to run through like the high school level explanations needed to explain why first-hand collection of data is prone to like all sorts of biases. I don't know if I'm like up to the task or not.
Oh yeah, it's alright. Sorry, just go and dumb it right down for me there, Destiny. Dumb it right down.
I don't even know. Let's say that I
thought these were things that you knew.
Let's say,
like,
I do, but I already know that I'm wasting my breath. Let's say that I collect. Let's say that I have 100 videos of white people beating up black people in the United States, and I show you 100 videos of that. Does that prove like some trend? Does that prove that all white people are beating up black people, or what?
I would show that it was a serious problem. Yeah.
How would you know it's a serious problem? You don't know the context.
Because you've just showed me 100 videos of
in a country of 330 million people. In a country of 330 million people, how do you know that 100 videos is a serious problem?
If one white guy is beating up one black guy and it's a single event, I would still class that as a problem.
On a national level?
Well, you were talking about problems there, but you threw that little national in there. Yeah.
Do you
need a hand with that? I know that you're quite a small guy, Destiny, but do you need a hand lifting that goalpost around? I can help you if you want.
Yeah.
Like if it's too heavy for you to carry, I can help you.
I want to kill myself.
Good.
Oh, we're only 5 minutes in, man.
Okay. All right. I guess because I'm sorry, because I target people in the middle. I'm sorry, I target people in the middle. So let me back up and explain this fully, I guess, so that people can understand. So as a human being, you are prone to all sorts of cognitive biases. As a human being, the whole goal of your evolution, or part of the big part of evolving you as a person and being successful, is your ability to quickly recognize patterns and then act on said patterns. If you were a person in the wilderness and something made a strange noise in a bush, the person that walks over and investigates probably gets killed. The person that assumes it's a predator probably survives, etc., etc. Evolutionary biology memes, nice stuff. So typically what we do is we recognize patterns very quickly. Now, in today's society, we don't need that in terms of being able to survive, so that pattern recognition actually manifests itself in a lot of really disgusting cognitive biases. So here's an example of that. Let's say as a child, I try to pet a dog, the dog bites me. There's a high probability that I will go through the rest of my life being very afraid of dogs because one dog bit me. Okay, this is an example of a singular event occurring that radically shapes my opinion about all dogs because I'm making an extrapolation that my human mind has been evolved to make that doesn't suit me well when it comes to interpreting lots of data. So let's talk specifically about this example. If I go online and I search for right-wing extremist violence or left-wing extremist violence, I can probably find hundreds of videos of both sides of these. videos. Now, depending upon what my political affiliation is, I will probably be more prone to finding videos that agree with my particular point of view. This is called confirmation bias. It's very well studied in psychology. Nobody disagrees with it. If I am a very right-leaning person, I'm probably going to go online and look more for left-leaning violent videos, or I'm going to follow right-leaning YouTubers that show me left-leaning violent videos. If that's the only type of media that I consume, and psychology has shown us that people are more likely to consume media that agrees with them, you're probably going to come away with the opinion thinking, oh wow, look, all the lefties are super violent. I don't really see that much right-leaning violence, but I've seen hundreds of videos of left-leaning people being violent. So this is why when you enter a conversation with which side is more violent, it's really silly to go, well, I've seen a lot of videos of this, because one, the type of videos that you're seeking out could be prone to individual biases, and two, you haven't seen footage of every single political rally or political event that has happened all across the globe, such that you could create an accurate database to assess who's being more violent. This is why your point of I've watched a lot of videos is a really silly point that's unfounded in any type of reality-based conversation.
Yeah, but cognitive bias applies to you as well, Destiny.
Of course, which is why I look for data points rather than looking at videos.
Okay then, but what if, how many videos would it take?
No amount of videos. I would never trust myself to watch individual videos to try to draw a conclusion.
So actual evidence, watching an event actually happen, you feel that you wouldn't be able to perceive what that video is truly trying to show, and you basically feel that an actual evidence of an event happening isn't enough to prove that that event is happening.
The problem isn't that the event is happening. I don't disagree that events have happened, that things like Charlottesville have happened, that things like Antifa rallies at the G20 summit or whatever have happened. These things have happened. That's not the problem. The problem is that the statements aren't that these events happen. The problem is that you extrapolate it into statements that generalize, saying things like the left is more violent than the right because of these individual data points that I've collected.
Okay, then, well, for example, there have been examples of right-wing terror attacks. I would say probably the most world-famous one is Timothy McVeigh. He's probably the most famous by far, the Oklahoma bombing. Right, and there was also a few things done by the KKK and a few neo-Nazi groups and stuff like that as well. Those kind of peaked, say probably 80s, early 90s. The KKK themselves were classed as a terrorist group, but they are on the way fucking out. I think in their last census, they were less than 8,000 members. And in a population of 330 million, that's jack shit. And I would probably say about 1,000 of those members are FBI informants, but I'm digressing anyway. Right now, as far as actual right-wing terror attacks, they do happen, but they are extraordinarily rare now. Like, for example, we had one here in the UK, our first one in fucking a very long time. A guy mowed down people outside a mosque and killed one guy. But when it comes to actual investigations and actual data of right-wing terror attacks, most of them are usually foiled, and there aren't even that many. I'm not seeing a lot of violence coming from it. I'm seeing attempted, sometimes planned, but even those that get foiled early are not on anywhere near as large a scale as literally hundreds and hundreds of people showing up in fucking ski masks, putting fireworks inside bottles, lighting them and throwing them into the crowds, even though that's basic as fuck. That's classed as an IED, right? That is classed as an IED. Well, how many fucking right-wing groups do you see doing what Antifa is doing on their level?
I mean, I'm sure if I were to go and look for videos, I could probably find it happening. I mean, again, I only look at...
Have you found videos of it happening? Yeah, have you found some videos, Destiny? I thought the videos didn't mean shit.
I'm making fun of you when I say that I could go and find a video of it happening. But I know that, like, in terms of how numbers go, like, white supremacists killed more people in the United States than any other extremist group did. Like, I know that to be, like, a true point. I could go and...
Really, white, the country that's, like, majority white people kill the most people. That's interesting. I wonder what's causing that. Nothing to do with the fact that the country's majority white. Did you know in Africa, black people kill the most people?
They're extremist-related deaths, not just random killings. Like, related to, like, political ideology.
Well, the country is majority white, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be, like, the explanation there. If the country is majority white people will be committing most of the murders.
I mean, I don't think all white people in the United States are white supremacists. I'm just talking about, like, extremist groups.
Are you sure? Right, this is originally supposed to be about free speech, anyway.
Yeah,
man.
let's talk. Yeah, sure. Let's talk about free speech.
Right, okay. Then so you were pro censorship, essentially.
No, I wasn't in the past, but I'm moving it more in that direction, yeah.
Okay, and why do you feel yourself moving in that direction?
Because I think that some people contribute in very cancerous ways to public conversation, where they're either intentionally disingenuous or they're spreading misinformation, and I think that that kind of stuff only does damage, and I don't see a good reason to have these people ever disseminating their views in the public.
Why is it you feel like it causes damage, though?
Because they mislead conversations, and instead of people discussing things that are rooted in reality, they end up discussing things that are based in fantasy, so they can't have like an accurate assessment of what's going on. For example, when they're talking about political violence, their views might be informed by how many YouTube videos they've watched of violent actions.
Or they, might be conflating attribution of race, to the amount of murders and conflating that with the fact that the country's majority white. So I completely understand.
No one's talking about white crime. I was talking about crime due to white extremism. I don't know why you keep saying it's just white crime. A white person killing somebody doesn't count as a white extremist crime. I don't know if you don't understand the difference. I can explain if you need me to.
No, it's okay. It's just you confused me because that's literally what you said earlier. So,
okay.
That was kind of
earlier you were talking about liberals committing crime. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of white liberals as well.
We're talking about free speech, Destiny.
Okay, yeah. Talk about free speech. Yeah.
Real quick, before you guys start going into the free speech, where did you get that stat, Destiny?
The ADL report.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Why are they fake news?
No, I just read it earlier, and there was the word alleged white supremacist showed up a lot.
Yeah, because it's pretty hard. When you talk about a lot of the hate crimes, it can be kind of hard sometimes to 100% know. Like, we could probably go through individual cases and try to pick out, because a lot of the times people, when they go do a hate crime, they're not going to say, like, I am going to commit a crime in the name of whites, right? So you have to do, like, a lot of background investigation to try to guess,
so your data could be inaccurate then, is what you're saying?
Yeah, of course. But I can talk about, I can discuss the inaccuracy of my data. I can't go through an archive of every YouTube video you've ever seen. But,
right. Well, I was addressing your data earlier. That wasn't really anything to do with my,
Sure, but you're being hypercritical of my data while presenting no data of your own, and I acknowledge that my data could have points that demand further investigation. Of course, this is good data analysis.
Yeah.
Of course,
yeah. Mine basically show that it's happening, and obviously the amount of videos can kind of be an indication as to what scale. Because mine shows like the actual, event itself. But anyways, back onto the free speech subject. You said you were worried about people disseminating their views in public because they can mislead them, right? And then you explained that the reason that you have a problem with that is that people themselves can actually be misled into believing something. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's basically the people that aren't equipped to have these conversations are misleading people because they're not having conversations rooted in any type of reality. Yeah, they're usually quoting bad stats, or they're intentionally misleading people in the way that they use their numbers. I think that that's like a really bad...
Okay, then. Yeah. So, but do you feel these people have the right to say their views?
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess they do, but I guess I would advocate things like legally, politically aggressive measures to use against them. I guess if you can deplatform them in some way, I would probably encourage it against people that intentionally mislead people. At this point, yeah, I'd think so.
Okay. So, what would happen to people that were deplatformed?
I don't know. Hopefully, less people hear their shit.
Okay, then, but that's been proven that doesn't happen.
Really?
Yep. What they then do is organise in private.
Oh, in private. Well, in private is better than having a YouTube channel with hundreds of thousands of people listening to me.
Well, here's the funny thing is, see when groups organise in private with absolutely no one to challenge their views in any way, so it just becomes a nice big circle jerk echo chamber, and the fact that they have obviously been banned from espousing their views, through penalty of, prison or fines or anything like that, and they can't get a platform, these people can start to feel a little bit victimized.
Yeah, but they already do that in their huge groups. Right-leaning people already have...
Let me finish my point, right? They can start to feel a little bit stressed. They can start to feel a little bit persecuted. And when people start to feel like that, they can turn to some very extreme ways in order to get their point across. Right? And that's how you get things like underground fucking terrorist cells. And the beautiful thing about that is, see, because these people have never ever espoused their views ever in their life because it's illegal for them to do so, we have no idea who the fuck they are. And that's dangerous.
Yeah, sure, but people already make these same hug boxes, and people already do the huge echo chamber shit on YouTube right now, so I don't really see how there's that much difference. Or how there's that much difference.
It doesn't stop them from... It doesn't... No, it's completely different.
How is it completely different?
Get put away, I'm just about to explain it to you.
Sorry,
I actually did kind of explain it earlier, but I can do it again. Right, it's the fact is, like, see how even though, okay then, it's an echo chamber, like they're on YouTube, but their videos are still You know, like, for example, the biggest echo chamber in the world, you could probably say, is Steve Shives, right? But his videos are still very publicly available. I can go and watch them right now. You can go and watch all of his videos and see his views and see his content. He's not been deplatformed. He's still able to get his views out there in the world. But the important thing that is supposed to happen with these views is you are supposed to challenge them. Because see, if you have an idea that goes completely unchallenged for ages, or your beliefs aren't challenged, then basically your fortification of them weakens. You're not used to anything that you believe being challenged. You're not used to any kind of counterculture coming against you, which means basically it's the same as like doing a workout. It's essentially like doing a workout. If you don't work out, you become weak. The exact same thing happens to your arguments. And if this group's fucking organising in private and they've been skilling themselves so fucking much against your arguments for years and years and years that when they finally rise up and meet you in debate or meet you in a fucking election of all fucking things, they will annihilate you. They will fucking ruin you. Because you've been slacking and they haven't. And the thing is as well, say for example, like Nazism. Another thing as well, like, do you want to know one of the main reasons why Trump won?
Yeah, go for it.
No, one of the main reasons why Trump won is the thing, you've heard of the whole secret voters.
Secret what?
Type theory. Secret voters. This isn't the fucking illegal alien one, right? This is like a different one. And what happened was people were like, "Oh, we did polls."
Oh yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
People
that said they would vote for whatever, but ended up voting for Trump. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it was the whole thing is because they just wanted to avoid an argument. They were like, "I don't want in trouble with my employer. I don't want this. I don't want that. Who are you voting for? Hillary." Right, just because they didn't want a fucking argument. And then what happened was they voted Trump. Now, a lot of people kept that secret, and because of that, Trump got in charge. Now, imagine if there was someone who was a Nazi. Right, someone who was an actual downright die-hard fucking Nazi, but he grew up in a society where he wasn't allowed to say his views, wasn't allowed to say them out loud, couldn't express them, couldn't rally. So then what happens is these people organise in secret. They can espouse their views, have a little echo chamber. They're not getting challenged. They're not basically having any kind of opportunity to get brought back from the dark side at all, right? So then what happens is one of these people, and we have no idea how this person thinks or believes, and they end up running in an election. And they say all the right things and they do all the right stuff, and you might even fucking vote for the bastard. And then that guy gets in charge, and then he starts making some big changes. You don't think that's dangerous?
Yeah, I mean, sure it is.
So isn't it better to have these people on their platform so that they can be publicly challenged? Because see how whenever you have a debate, like a lot of people seem to think that if a Nazi or someone, you know, an extreme right winger or even a fucking flat earther gets up there and stands behind a lectern and starts saying stuff to the entire crowd, the entire crowd is immediately just going, "Oh, that's it, I'm a Nazi now, I believe in flat earth now." Like, that's absolutely not the fucking case. See, if you encourage people to be rational and sceptical, then they will actually challenge their views, they will research into it. And see, when you find that, like Nazism and stuff like that, see if people are rational, they'll look at that and go, "No, that's fucking bullshit, that can fuck off." Right? See, if you have faith in people, they will turn the fuck away from that shit. Give a Nazi a platform and watch that platform turn into a fucking gallows as they hang themselves with their own words, right? I just think deplatforming people, because people are so retarded that they'll believe this shit. Like, it just sounds like you don't have any faith in society as a whole. You think people are too stupid.
Yeah, in general.
But then again, what I would like to say is, what makes you the arbiter of what is haram and what is halal?
So, going back to your original statement, the problem with this entire wonderful narrative that you've woven, and I actually agree with everything you've said. I agree with everything you said. Challenging, it is a narrative. It's a totally disingenuous narrative, and I'll tell you why. Because all of these YouTube channels, all this skeptic community shit, has all been a massive fucking circle jerk for years. I guarantee you that if I were to do an essay test for 99% of the skeptic community who have obsessed over shitting on feminists and SJWs, they probably couldn't even really describe what feminism is. Sargon couldn't do it when he went to that whatever, it wasn't VidCon, but some other debate. He wasn't even able to describe what feminism is. People say there's
the difference between what feminists say it is and what it actually is.
There's a difference between what feminism actually is versus what someone on Tumblr said that you post a video of. Right? You realize that, like, the random...
No, that's not what I said at all.
Well, I mean, I watched some videos on YouTube channel earlier, and I noticed that you, like, take talking points from, like, this is the 52 genders I pulled off of Tumblr. Let's talk about why it's a huge problem.
I didn't say why it was a huge problem. I just made fun of each one.
I know. We were just epically trolling. I know. So The problem is that
that's like my
I know that's the entire skeptic community is just a bunch of LOL we're trolling, and this is the problem is that when anybody when any I know you're not whatever your guys' community is called I try not to say skeptic anymore.
I'm not part of any community, man. Like I know that you want to land a title on me, man.
Okay. All right, sure. I know you're just a very special individual that is anti-SJW, like all the other special individuals that are anti-SJW.
I'm also wanting stricter controls on immigration. It doesn't make me alt-right.
Okay, I never said it made you alt-right. So the problem.
I'm doing it for fuck's sake. Man.
So I didn't say you were alt-right, did I? I don't know if you're alt-right. I don't know your views enough to know if you're alt-right. I don't know.
I was using that as an example, but you know.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, I was just trolling when I said I was just doing it for lulz. So the problem is that, like, for the past 5 years, these communities, okay, not skeptic community, I'm sorry, these communities have existed where they have just been essentially massive fucking circle jerks. That thing that you described earlier, putting your views out there and challenging your views in order to solidify them and to make sure that you've got the, the best information available, I would love for that to happen. But right now in the YouTube community, it doesn't happen, and it hasn't happened, and it won't happen. It's the same tired, played out, here's a screenshot of a headline from an article that I didn't read.
You're saying that our views don't get challenged, then what are you doing to me right now?
I'm having a conversation. I'm like one of the first people that has...
You're challenging my views. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. And look at Styx earlier, the guy that blocked me because he couldn't handle somebody challenging his views. You
said I blocked you.
No, not you, Styx. Styxhammer 666 or whatever.
Well, what the fuck's he got to do with this? This is between me and you, man.
Okay, well, you won the whole argument, actually. Because you're talking to me now, you've solved the entire problem of people being stuck in their echo chambers across the millions of... Then what are you talking about? You're acting like my original claim was, you'll never talk to me in a conversation. No, you clearly are.
Your claim was that we just put videos up and they don't get...
Wait, why are you saying like, we? You just said you're not in a community. Now you are in a community?
Oh, God,
which one is it? Okay, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, buddy, okay? Take a deep breath. So my problem is that the massive YouTube channels and all these communities together tend to be a little bit circle jerky. I don't think that's that controversial of a statement. I could go on a Sargon of a...
I could throw that back at you, by the way. I have actually watched some of your streams, by the way, man, and I've also seen some of your tweets, and if you want to see a fucking circle jerk, my boy...
Dude, the majority of my content is engaging with people that I disagree with. How can you say that I'm circle jerking?
Your content is engaging with 12-year-old yes men that are like, oh, Destiny, give me some of that fucking dick. Right, that is what your content fucking is. See, the reason that you think you're right all the time is all of your fans are a bunch of yes men.
See... This is amazing. I love this. Honestly, because this is great. I'm glad that you said this. I'm glad you say this because you're proving right now your own cognitive pitfalls. You are incapable. Yeah, because you seem to think I'm a giant circle jerk, dude. My political views have changed dramatically over the past 3 years. I've got a ton of people in my community that disagree vehemently over things that I say. And I could name specific issues that they disagree with me massively over. And I don't spend the majority of time on Twitter. I spend the majority of my time live streaming and doing debate format stuff. You've seen a few things of me on Twitter.
Your little echo chamber circle jerk, yeah.
How can it be an echo chamber if I'm doing debates? Was JonTron an echo chamber? Was Lauren Southern an echo chamber? Were the Andy Worski videos an echo chamber? When I talked to JF, is that an echo chamber? When I went on the massive shit show, massive conversations with Ian and Brittany and Tonka, was that an echo chamber? When I was talking against Lauren Southern, Roaming Millennial, Blair White, was that an echo chamber? What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Oh fuck, I was about to read some more of my book there, but you're finished. Right, but anyway, like the fact is, okay then, you did go up against people, right? But you have this thing, right? You actually went up against a friend of mine called Patricia Stone. And the one thing that I was actually very, very surprised by, and a lot of people were shocked by this, is you actually seceded to a lot of her points. And people were, this is one thing that you say, you've got, cognitive bias and all that. You like using that word, everybody likes to use those big words.
I mean, if I ever say a word that's too big for you, ask me to explain it and I can break down the concept. I'm not trying to just say big words. I feel very strongly about everything I'm talking about, but sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, I understand why a guy like you would want to use big words.
Yeah, because I like to describe, real things that I need to describe to make my points. Again, if it's too hard for you, I can break it down. That's fine. Go ahead.
No, it's okay, man. It's okay. Don't worry about it, man.
I know. You probably wouldn't understand anyway, so go ahead. Like, I'm talking to a guy that's making fun of me, saying cognitive bias, like I'm using like a fucking like a graduate level term here. This is high school psych shit. If it's too much for you, I'm sorry. This is why I usually avoid conversations with people like you. But I mean, like,
class yesterday,
yeah, my bad, dude. I'll try to your big brain problems. I'll say that instead of sometimes.
Dude, I'm not sitting here pretending like I'm an intellectual or anything like that. Man.
I didn't know that cognitive bias made you an intellectual. Wow, I didn't know that being aware that people have certain shortcomings when they try to evaluate information makes you an intellectual. I didn't know the bar was set that low, but maybe in your guys' communities it is. I don't know.
Oh, the bar needs to be set pretty low, otherwise how else will you reach it? Anyway, right? No, but the point is, we were supposed to be talking about freedom of speech, right? You want to do super chats?
Just a couple real quick. I had one from Base Trap. God damn it, I can't pronounce his name. Based Trap Kayla 5 minutes ago. Unintentionally disingenuous and misleading. Destiny. Is that why you brought up Heather Heyer?
What? I didn't bring up Heather Heyer. Did I? I don't think I ever said her name in here.
A little bit ago.
Wait, what?
I don't remember.
I did not bring up Heather Heyer. Oh, I'm sorry. You mean when I mentioned the girl that got ran over at the extremist rally?
Yeah,
the one whose name is Heather Heyer.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot that was her name. Wait, what about her? How was that intentionally misleading?
You said Dankula was being intentionally misleading and disingenuous, and then you brought her up.
Yeah, as a counterexample that extremist right people commit violence.
Real quick, did you catch the interview with the guy from Redneck Revolt, that anti-book group? Did you catch that interview?
I did not know.
Well, the start of the interview was one of the guys in that group admitting that he was chasing James Alex Field with a gun, and when James Alex Field got in the car, he was still chasing him, and that's one of the reasons that crash happened. So I don't know if that's necessarily far-right extremists as opposed to getting away from somebody with a fucking gun.
I would need to read that. I'm not comfortable talking about this here because a lot of people have made up a lot of conspiracy bullshit around that, so I would need to go and look that video up before I give it any credence here.
I'll try to find it real quick and send it to you.
Okay.
In fairness, the Charlottesville thing, there are two different stories. So what happened at Charlottesville, I wouldn't want to talk about until basically the trial's over. Because at this point, it is just sheer speculation. You could say, because one people are saying that he purposefully drove the car into that crowd and meant to kill them, but then other people are saying that he had no choice because he was getting away from people that were trying to kill him. But you can't really say anything on it at this point until essentially the trial's finished.
Okay, so what were we talking about? You want to talk about Patricia, or what were we talking about?
No, I was talking about the point as one thing about yourself, and a lot of people have used this term. Have you ever heard the story of the pigeon that played chess?
No, go ahead and tell it to me.
This was an old sort of thing that they used to say when it was atheism. Are you an atheist yourself?
Yeah, very much so.
Right. Okay. Then. So obviously you've had an argument with a Christian before. Then. Right. Okay. Then. Obviously, the phrase that used to get used was arguing with a Christian is like playing pigeon with a chess. Playing pigeon with a chess. Well done. I don't even smoke weed anymore, so I've got nothing to blame that on. Playing chess with a pigeon.
Yeah, I got it. They shit all over the board. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that gets used for you an awful lot, man.
Yeah, I can imagine, because most of the people that I talk to are insanely stupid when it comes to talking about social issues or anything. Yeah.
So it's completely not because sometimes you're wrong or sometimes you do lose debates. It's because everyone's stupid.
No, if I'm wrong about something, I'll admit it. But I've never been in a conversation. Yeah, of course, I've changed my view on things. But no, when I'm talking to people like you who speak in generalities and never bring up data and talk about YouTube videos they've seen or whatever, I mean, yeah, of course, I come away from these conversations very much feeling like I've wasted my time. If I'm talking to somebody that thinks that watching videos is a good way to extrapolate whether there's more violence on the left or the right, you're lost on so many different levels that it's impossible to have an intelligent conversation with you about anything involving macro systems, right? Yeah.
Obviously,
it's funny that you consider me the pigeon here, though. But
Rick and Morty, you obviously watch a lot.
Yeah,
of Rick
I love
Rick.
I actually have posters on my cameras. They're just out of frame, but I've got 20 posters. Rick is my. I look up to him. He's actually my role model because he's so edgy and smart and says bad words and stuff. Yeah, I love him.
I always thought you were more of a Morty guy, considering you kind of look like...
Well, every Morty sees themselves as a Rick, right? That's Dunning-Kruger, so...
Sometimes the punchlines just write themselves.
Yeah, there you go, dude.
Right. But anyway, the whole point they were originally onto was freedom of speech. So you think the deplatforming thing is completely fine?
At this point, yeah, I probably moved in that direction. I regret to say it, but yeah.
Okay, then. Well, we've already discussed about why that's a danger.
The big danger is who becomes the arbitrator of truth at that point, which is a valid. That's the reason why I was never for it in the past.
It's not really the arbitrator. It's the arbitrator. Basically, whenever any kind of society itself dictates a set of morals. Now, morals themselves can be subjective. A lot of things can influence morals. You get things like natural law, not like the laws of nature. Like, laws of nature are things like the speed of light and all that type of stuff, right? They're constants.
The philosophical term of natural law, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. Natural law, like laws of nature state what is. Natural law states what ought to be. So lots of different cultures will say things like, for example, don't steal, don't kill, etc., etc. But then again, those things aren't universal, and because those laws itself can be called into question, like a lot of people can. If you want to get into fucking philosophy, the people say if a law can be called into question, is it a moral law? But the thing as well is,
just to clarify, I'm pretty sure that natural law is the idea that there are some morals that are like intrinsic to humans, that you're endowed by. I think it's normally God is the idea behind natural law. That there are some morals that I don't have to justify them; they're just true because of natural law. Is natural law? Yeah. That's not good. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't want to get into the philosophy behind that because it's messy as fuck, right? But going on for the point, obviously, see whenever people start to debate and discuss laws and stuff like that as well, obviously, an arbitrator, an authority has to be established to decide what is right and wrong. Because obviously, you can't have people just following their own little moral code because then society gets messy. It's not really a society, because a society is, by definition, a group of people who follow a set of normative rules, usually established by an authority. And then people always have to establish who that authority is. But authority, at the end of the day, are all human and will therefore most likely go for their own self-serving agenda. So at this moment in time, for example, the authority can turn around and say, fuck all the right wing can go fuck itself. Now, a lot of people might argue that that's not moral, but then again, morality, most of S.I. Ben reasoned back in 1958 that is actually subjective. Right now, the point of it is, obviously the establishment right now is basically saying that everything right-wing is bad. Everything right-wing is bad. You yourself think the right-wing is bad. Is that correct?
No, but we would have to talk about individual points. But...
No, I'm not individual points. Just like the right-wing as a whole at the moment, do you think it's a good or a bad thing?
Like the right-wing movement or right-wing politics or like right-wing groups?
Just right-wing groups. People who are like, I'm anti-immigration, I'm pro-Christianity, like all that, even the people that are just simply going like that, like everyone can do what they want, but fuck those gays.
I don't like.
I know it's an unfair question.
Sure, I'll say yeah. For sake of argument, we'll say yeah. For sake of argument, I'll say yeah. I think they're bad right now. Sure.
Right. Okay. I'm not going to use that against you and go like, you said the right wing was bad, right? It is an unfair question, but it's to get a gist right. But say, for example, what happens if at one point the right wing become the arbiters of what is haram and what is halal, and they basically try and deplatform you? Would you find that fair?
No. So okay, the way that I'm trying to do this, the way that I decide, like for me personally, and I don't know if I am comfortable enough because this is a really new evolution of my personal thought. The way that I personally view this in terms of like what should be platformed or what shouldn't be platformed has to do with people talking about things that are rooted in reality. So let me give you an example. It doesn't fall on right wing versus left wing lines. It falls on whether or not your arguments are fact based. So here's an example. Let's talk about the gay thing. Okay, let's say that there are some people that think that gay people should have the right to be in society and get married and do all the things that normal people are. Let's say that somebody else says, I don't think gay people should be allowed in society because I think that the family unit is the most important thing and homosexuality degrades the family unit or something like that. That's a legitimate argument that I think can be platformed because you can fight against that argument philosophically. It's an argument that has philosophical foundations. If you axiomatically construct like the family unit as being really important in your moral system, then homosexuality is indeed an attack on that. I think that you can platform an idea like that. Same thing with ethno-states, same thing with Nazism, whatever else. I think that you can intelligently argue out these types of things. What I'm Wait, sorry, what? Wait, hello? Are you here, Sinatra?
Trashed.
Yeah, I'm here.
Like that
Hold on, wait, hold on. This call just
What's
like
happening?
What happened?
You guys okay? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I lost everything. After you,
Yeah, so did I.
you said something and then I lost it all. What did you say?
Right. It was like, so see how you're saying that obviously people saying like fuck the gays, that can obviously be challenged.
No. I'm saying that how you construct the argument is the important part to me. So if you say I don't like gay people because they threaten the family structure, that is that's an internally valid argument that you could construct and then it can be challenged. But if your argument is I don't like gay people because gay people run around raping and murdering children, and statistically speaking, gay people are going to give AIDS to everybody in the U.S., this is not an argument that I think should be platformed.
This is the thing. Is see whenever someone, like for example, if you have a public debate, one thing people keep misconstruing the fucking point of debate is not to, like, see for example, me and you, this isn't really an official debate or anything per se, right? But when I'm talking to you, I'm never going to be able to convince you of anything, right?
Yeah, of course. And I call it the 20, 40, 40. I go for the 20% in the middle, and then there's 40% rooted on each side that will never change their opinion. Sure.
Yeah, no, but this is the thing, is a lot of people are becoming more rational. So the point of the debate isn't to convince, your opponent that you're right, is to convince the audience. And see if obviously some of the most basic people can easily go up on stage and trash a Nazi. I could go on stage and fucking trash a Nazi, and I'm just a shitlord. I know for a fact that I could annihilate an actual full-fledged Nazi in debate.
Wait, do you think you could argue against like ethno-states?
Ethno-states?
Yeah.
I could easily argue against that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want an ethno-state. I don't want immigration. Like, obviously the alt-right want immigration. Though you get some people that just want immigration shut down, but then you get the people obviously that want an ethno-state a step further, where everyone who's already here gets kicked the fuck out. That's what they want. I don't want that. Like, the only time I feel that someone should be deported is if they break the law in a serious way, or if they're here illegally. Right? So see how, for example, if someone came to this country, they have a family, they have a house, and they fucking just basically, do what every citizen does. But I would not in any way allow for that person to be punished for something when they've done no wrong.
Sure.
Right? So I'm completely against the idea of an ethno-state.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I forget the original point I was fucking talking about now.
You made the point that I horribly disagree with, that people are becoming more rational, but you were talking about that. You said people are becoming more rational.
People are, because people are basically getting exposed now. Like, for example, see how the term fake news going around?
Yeah.
I think that's one of the greatest terms that's ever went around. Because see how back in the 60s...
That's something that I would totally disagree with, but go ahead.
No, but the fact is, like, see how during the 60s and 70s, the news and everything that was presented to you by the media was fucking gospel. It was believed immediately. Like, everything was fucking true that came out of that TV set, and people are thinking less and less like that.
Yeah,
like,
but people aren't being critical of news sources now. Now, instead of believing CNN, now they believe everything they read instantly on Breitbart or instantly from InfoWars.
They question everything.
I wish I saw this. I wish I saw this.
I'm friends with editors at Breitbart, and I still question everything that comes out of Breitbart. I question everything that comes out of fucking everywhere. Like, literally, like, I don't turn around and just believe everything that I fucking hear. The vast majority of people I know don't either.
Okay.
Right, obviously when people are younger, then the kids are fucking stupid. They'll believe anything. Believe in the Tooth Fairy and Santa and all that. It's fucking easy to convince a kid. But then as people get older, people start asking questions. But the thing that's making me even more worried is the fact that universities are supposed to be producing critically thinking, rational, skeptical people. That's the entire idea. Inquisitive thought is what universities are supposed to be producing. Now they're just producing fucking left-wing ideologues. That's what we're getting at universities.
Yeah, but the Republican Party in the United States, has itself to blame for that, at least in the US.
Well, they're wrong too.
What?
I don't care who's doing it. I don't care if it's fucking the Democrats, the Republicans, the communists.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. Sure, I don't disagree that this is to some extent a problem. But like, if you want to talk about like threats to free speech and the fact that universities are maybe more liberal than they should be, which I'm not even sure if that's true. That's something that we would have to talk more about. Why is it that all of the skeptics that are so concerned with this have nothing to say about Trump's attacks against free speech in the United States, which are actually way more important?
What's he done that's against free speech? Because I'm usually the free speech guy. I'm usually on top of shit like that. I've not seen anything like that.
So Trump putting together a panel on fake news is a really scary thing. the president of the United, whether you believe that fake news exists or not.
It does, man. Like news agencies.
Yeah, I know. I don't care whether you think it does or not. I'm saying whether or not it does.
It literally does exist.
Okay, sure. Whether or not do you understand that I'm trying to make a point?
I'm sorry. News agencies lie. They do lie. Okay. Come on.
Right, let me try this one more time. Whether or not fake news exists, you shouldn't want the president of the United States to be the person that calls it out. It's a really inappropriate thing for the leader of your government to do, because media it exists as a check on the government. You don't want the government trying to check the media. You don't want state, or at least, and this might be an American thing versus wherever you live in now.
What do you mean by check? Do you mean, see when they say check, you say that a panel's been put together, are they going to basically prevent them from putting the articles out, or are they going to present arguments and proof against those articles? Like, what is it they actually plan to do?
Well, I mean, like, decrying things as fake news because they say mean things about you. That's
so calling it out. See if he was basically shutting them down and going, "We will decide what you can and can't print." Then fucking holy shit.
No, but the president's word. I mean, he did keep people from coming into the newsroom when he kept all the cameras and media people from broadcasting anything. I mean, that's kind of a smaller thing. But when the president,
that's not just a Trump thing, though. Just putting that out there. That's not just a Trump thing. Obama did that.
Whether it's a Trump thing or not, I'm not sure if Obama did it, but whether it's a Trump thing or not, it doesn't change the fact that Trump has done that in conjunction with a lot of other really scary statements about opening up libel laws so that he can sue people in the media that write bad things about him. There was that poll that came out recently that 4 out of 10 Republicans believe that accurate stories that portray...
Libel laws would be fine, because then what would happen is the validity of what the press presented would have to be debated in court, which means they would need to provide actual evidence. And then it would actually be a good way to find out the actual fucking facts.
You don't think that there might be a problem if you're a news journalist and you're doing a story and you think you've uncovered something that's like really risque? You don't think it might be a problem that people could sue you out of existence? This is why things like
this is the thing is, see, as long as you have proof that it happened, then you don't need to worry about it, because you've proved that it's not a lie. Libel is against lies. If you have evidence that it's not a lie, then you're telling the truth and you can't be sued for that. Libel is for lies. If you're telling the truth and can prove you're telling the truth, then you can't be sued.
Okay, then if Republican or right-leaning ideas are so good, it's not a big deal that people learn a lot of left-leaning ideas in college. They'll just come around when they get out.
Well, I think it was Churchill that actually said that. If you're young and not left-wing, you don't have a heart.
And if you're old and not considered, yeah, it's a really good platitude that means nothing, but sure.
Well, I used to be left-wing. I'm not even joking, man. I've even still got a nice little remnant of my fucking left wing past permanently fucking emblazoned on my fucking chest. Because this is what a lot of people fucking like. This is why a lot of people worry about me, is because I know how these people fucking
don't abandon that.
These people are the reason that I left the fucking movement.
Like, how can you think that it's good that somebody could take you to court every single time you publish something about you? You don't think that could have like really bad implications in the future? What?
If it's a lie.
No, you don't have. You would prove it's a lie in court. That's the point of taking somebody to court, is that they have to incur legal fees. They have to defend their point. They might still lose.
The way that courts work, like, see for example, like, if someone told a story about Trump and it was true, and they had evidence that it was true, and Trump sued them, they would present it in court. The judge would rule against Trump, and Trump would have to pay their legal fees.
You don't have to pay the legal fees all the time. You have to countersue for legal fees. And you can only recover legal.
It must work differently in America. Then it must work differently in America.
Sure, yeah. In America, our judicial system is pretty.
Then it would be a successful. What? It would be a successful countersuit then.
What? No, because you have to prove that they were taking you to court in bad faith. That's a whole other level of shit. Countersuing is a whole other thing that you have to do. Because if you can just countersue somebody anytime they sue you, you might just encourage people from actually pursuing legitimate lawsuits.
It would obviously be in bad faith if the person was aware that.
You don't know that. It might not be. Maybe they're not doing it in bad faith. Do you not see the problem where we're going to start litigating all of our journalism? Like, that's not a healthy precedent to set. This kind of double standard is like what I'm talking about in terms of left wing versus right wing. Like, for left wing, you're saying that, like, well, I've seen some college kids that are kind of being pretty extreme lefties in college campuses, and that's a huge problem. Okay, well, what about the president literally saying he's going to sue news organizations for writing mean things about him? Well, that's different. They can go to court and they can prove it, and it's okay. That'll turn out okay. Like, no, that's a huge problem. I don't want anybody in my government threatening to take the media to court. That's a huge problem.
Those aren't the same thing. Those aren't the same thing, and that wasn't me that, like, diverted that.
Yeah, but if you're somebody that loves free speech, how can you be in favor of the president threatening the media to take them to court?
Because if people lie, then they need to be held responsible for that. Like, if I go on stage and fucking, like, spout a bunch of fake bullshit, then people are going to come out and attack me for it.
Yeah, people can do it, not the government. It's not the government's job to check the media. Or I'm an American, so we might have very different views of the government.
So do you feel then that people should just be allowed to say whatever the hell they want? Even media outlets can say whatever the fuck they want.
No, of course not. If media outlets are publishing lies, then it's on other media outlets to hold them accountable for it, or other people in the public to hold them accountable for it.
But it's happening right now.
No, I'm not talking about other people. I'm talking about the government doing it. As an American, I don't want the government in charge of checking the media. It's not the government's job. I don't trust the government to do that.
Real quick, I have to read some of these super chats out. They've been piling up. I want you to think about what you just said for a minute, Destiny. The Guardian for $10. Destiny is complaining about the media being...
I hate this guy. Fuck this guy. I don't even want to listen to this little fucking 14-year-old retard. This guy is so fucking stupid. I've seen this guy on Twitter before. Holy shit, this guy has like 2 brain cells that he can rub together.
In all of the U.S. history, he was literally crushing all of the leakers. $5 from Merck says, okay, Destiny, let's talk about Obama's prosecution of whistleblowers and the clandestine media moderation, and that his...
I love the whataboutism, assuming that I would support Obama or any of his atrocious fucking foreign policy, or the way that he expanded and continued on the Patriot Act. You think that I support the state powers expanded under Obama either? That's not true. But you guys elected Trump because you said he was going to be different. Don't give me these whataboutisms about Obama when Trump is fucking up just as hard as he did.
I'm not even American. I didn't vote for fucking Trump.
Sure, no, I'm talking to the donor, the guy that was doing the whataboutisms with Obama.
We'll work our way back to that. Bert Bobain says, what did Teddy Roosevelt say about the media? I don't know. Dr. Fu says, Breitbart is the opposite coin of the Young Turks. Dr. Fu again with another $2. The fuck is cognitive bias, Sargon of Akkad. $10 from Spooky Weeb Trash, thank you. Destiny, how many hours of Rick and Morty do I need to watch to learn the term cognitive dissonance?
I forget which episode that's in, and I have like the whole scripts memorized, but it's just I'm drawing a blank on that one right now. Sorry.
Fandoms ruin shows. $10 more from Spooky Weeb Trash says, Dankula, if a trap gets turned on by another trap, is it gay?
They cancel each other out. It actually ends the universe. It's like typing Google into Google.
It's just a paradox. It kills everything.
Exactly.
$2 from Average Apathetic American just got here, already loving how dank is. 2 Canadian money from Anderson Paladin says, Dankula, ask him about his ethical child porn for pedos. $5 from Ben Anime. Get back to the midget explaining how on the spectrum we have to be about Google stats to have free speech. $2 from Rothy Mama for the Circle Jerk Fund. I'm a proud spectator. $5 from Merck. All right, Destiny. I was at MythCon. Thomas Smith couldn't provide accurate representation of feminism. Don't make me put you in my pocket. $5 from The Guardian. Destiny makes fun of 52 genders, but in New York has legally recognized 31
No, they haven't.
Genders. Destiny, you're a joke. Making light of reality. Dankula, I sent you the actual statistics. $2 from The Guardian. And
I don't need to whip up
to the rest.
Right.
£10 from Nayfanny, Buddha Bit Destiny. $10 from Wolf. Glad I caught the stream. Always fun to watch a murder happen live. And Pete Ard for $5. Right-wing numbers are inflated by abortion clinic nuts. Without them pumping up.
Why doesn't that count? Okay.
I would think that would count actually. Left.
Yeah, that does count. That does count.
The left wing is triple. $2 from right-wing BDSM guy. Destiny leaves us kids alone. All right, you guys are good to go. What was your thoughts under Obama with how he treated the press and whistleblowers, both of you?
See, I don't mean to be rude, but while you guys talk, I'm going to go piss. Right, I'll be back.
Okay.
The whistleblowing it's a really complicated topic, and I don't know what the correct answer is to this. I would have to turn to some like really educated people and listen to them talk about the nuance. Your gut which a lot of people in your audience probably have, and my gut is to say that like whistleblowers are awesome. If you genuinely feel like people in the United States are being fucked over by the government, it is on you as an American to come out and reveal that. On one hand, I want to say that. On another hand, if you encourage whistleblowing, which supposedly our government policy already has legal protections for whistleblowers, but I've seen plenty of articles that challenge that, whether there are actual protections in place, pragmatically speaking, because a lot of people that whistleblow end up getting fucked for it. The problem is that like you have to be careful that too much information isn't leaked or isn't leaked irresponsibly in such a way that it damages American interests or the ability for America to conduct itself as an international intelligence organization, all of that. I don't know what the correct answer is there.
I think that's a pretty good position to hold. I'm not too far from that. I think as long as it's not putting American lives in danger, it's usually pretty okay if it's something really fucked up happening.
Sure. My gut feeling when I look at somebody like Edward Snowden, and I'm very careful when I talk about this because there are people that looked into this way more than I did. But when I look at somebody like Edward Snowden, based on everything that I read of him and his interactions with people in interviews and on Twitter, he seems like somebody that was a legitimate leaker, or in a good way, that he leaked something that he felt like would benefit America, and he was doing it in a responsible way. But I know there are a lot of people in defense that fucking hate Edward Snowden. So I don't know. I don't know what the correct answer is in terms of dealing with whistleblowers. It's a really complicated topic.
Someone's saying, so you support the Chelsea Manning leak, do you?
I don't think so. From what I know of the Chelsea Manning leak, I don't know if I'm supposed to say he or she because of the time he was here. I think I say she. Chelsea Manning, when she leaked the documents originally, I'm pretty sure that she just sent like a 10,000 pages or whatever to somebody and then just told him to print everything. I don't think that she went through any type of editing or any type of selective releasing of any of the data at all. She just blanket released a ton of stuff, which I think arguably ended up to some people or intelligence-related activities being compromised. That's my understanding of it.
I'm relatively sure that it ended up getting a lot of shit compromised.
Yeah, and so those types of things I'm probably not in favor of the indiscriminate leaking of tons of information. That's probably not a good thing.
All right, let me run through these last 5 super chats, and I have to piss again, and then you guys can go back. Lehman Russ, Dank, you can shoot the AK-47 I'm building. Dr. Fu says, ethical pedophile lives matter. £5 from the king who cared. Was Ofcom not made to make sure the media doesn't lie? I don't know what Ofcom is.
We've got something over here like that called IPSO, the Independent Press Standards Organization, and they are just for show.
Guardian says he agrees with you, Destiny, for $2. Merck says the sad part about this is Trump is fucking up less than Obama did. Name a whistleblower journalist that Trump is locked up.
I mean, whistleblowing isn't the only measure of success that you give to a president, but okay.
Trey Fowler says, Dankula, you're not taking into account the court cases. Take a long time. Stories can be time sensitive. I agree with Destiny on this, sadly. And Psychotic Cognition for $2 says the FCC is the government checking the media. That's true, but
what? No, it's not. The FCC doesn't check you on like facts, on fact-based arguments or anything. No, that's not true. Whoever said that,
I think it meant like keeping the media in line with what they put out.
I mean, you said guideline. No, that's not even true. The FCC doesn't even check cable news. No, what that guy just said was totally wrong. The FCC doesn't even have anything to do with cable news or publications on the internet or whatever. Whatever that guy just said was totally wrong. I promise he was wrong.
But here's something you guys can go have the bants about while I go piss. What do you think is the cutoff that a lie should be allowed to be told by the media? What's the cutoff on what is allowed and what's not allowed? As far as a lie about a president, let's say. What do you think is okay for the president to say, this is not lie? What's the liable line, I guess, is the way that I would word that. I
mean, the president can come out and say whatever he wants. It's just when the president is literally saying things like he's going to start suing the media for what seems like personal attacks against him, and when the president is literally lying, because President Trump has engaged in literal lies, like by definition. I don't know. I get really scared when the head of the state is arguing, somebody who is prone to telling blatant lies is saying that he's going to start suing the media for publishing falsehoods about them. Because I don't even know what he considers to be a falsehood.
Well, here's the thing as well, though. What if the media were publishing a bunch of lies about you? What would be your course of action?
I mean, it would probably be taking them to court for defamation. You don't see the difference between me, a private citizen, and the president of the United States, dude. Are you actually serious right now?
It wouldn't be,
No. I want to hear you say that. I want you to say that I have the same type of status in the United States as the president of the United States. That the expectations placed upon us are the same. That our role in government is the same, and that we have the same impact on society based on how we act on laws and whatnot. I want to hear you say that. Or if not, can you explain why you thought that opinion was so funny? Because it's the dumbest fucking gotcha I've ever heard in my life. You do know I'm not the president, right? I don't know how much you know about. I don't know how much you know about American politics. You know I'm not the president, correct? Okay, I'm going to assume that you know that I'm not the president. Okay, so the standards placed on me. So, for instance, if I were to tweet out that I think that people should be that people should have their citizenship revoked for burning the flag, that can be my personal opinion. That's whatever. But when President Trump tweets it out, which Trump has tweeted that out in the past, when he was either president-elect or when he was nominated as the Republican candidate, he tweeted out that he thought that people that burn the flag should lose their citizenship. That is a much different. It carries more gravity when he says it than when I say it. Do you understand that?
But obviously someone's opinions from the past then should affect the way that they're perceived in the future.
These aren't opinions from like 50 years ago. These are like tweets that he made, like, I'm pretty sure it was in 2016, like after he had won.
I'm pretty sure you've said a lot of stuff in the past that you wouldn't want to reflect on who you are now.
Sure. So I'm going to ask you this one more time. I'm sorry. Do you think that I'm the president of the United States?
I think we've already established that.
Okay, so then why are you trying to hold me to the same standards as the president of the United States?
Because it's on a personal level.
But Trump is not a private person. Trump is the head of state. Do you not recognize the difference in position there?
Neither are you. You would be classed as probably a public figure at this point.
Okay, sure, but public public figure does not mean public like public government. Public figure can still be a private person. So, for instance,
so is Trump allowed to himself personally sue the media for lying about him
when he's acting as president of the United States? Probably not. No.
So he doesn't have the same rights as everybody else while he's the president.
No. No, you have a different type of responsibility. Why Obama didn't sue Trump when he falsely accused Obama of being a Kenyan citizen or whatever, a belief that I think Trump might still even hold. But I mean, because you don't want the president, and I commend Obama for not doing it. You don't want the president of the United States coming after people. I'm not even sure legally if the president can personally sue somebody, or if like the DOJ has to take that up. I'm not even sure if that's how that works. But
well, I'm sorry, but laws are equal. Everybody's equal under the eyes of the law.
I don't know how that statement relates to this at all.
Because we're talking about law and people being sued in court. And basically the law applies equally to everyone, no matter who they are. It could be a homeless guy, it could be a billionaire. Laws apply equally to everyone.
Do you think that the president threatening to take people to court for saying mean things about him is the same type of thing?
It's not just mean things. Like, a lot of them are like malicious. Like, if I turn around and spread a rumour around saying that you sit down when you pee, or some bullshit like that would be me just sort of spreading around shit as a jive or as a joke or anything. But if I started spreading around a rumour that you beat your girlfriend or something like that, then that's malicious.
Okay, has anybody spread rumors that Trump has beat his girlfriend?
No, for fuck's sake.
Or like, what are like the malicious lies, I guess, that are being spread? Well, no, I know you weren't saying. I mean, like that. Like, what are the malicious lies? Because the things that Trump are talking about are usually like when Trump says or does something stupid that he doesn't like people calling him out on or something. I don't know, like what.
No, it's a case of, see if he does something stupid. Like, I fucking called out Trump before on stupid shit he literally has done. Stupid shit that Trump has done. A lot of stupid shit. He absolutely has. But see, whenever people are saying stuff that is absolutely fake and absolutely false. Like, it's even things like, just like, this is a stupid little thing. This isn't something that I would want to see go down the libel route or anything like that. But that fucking dumb shit when he was feeding the fish with the Japanese president. Like, that type of dumb shit.
Yeah, like, that was really dumb. But is that like, I'm going to sue you for defamation over that? That's
why I just said, before I said that, I wouldn't want that going down the libel route.
Yeah, but what's like an example of something that what would be an example? Not to put you on the spot, I understand if you can't think of anything like right off the top of your head, but like, what do you think is an example of a story that you think he should be suing somebody for? Or if you don't know anything off the top of your head, I understand. I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything.
I don't know if I was going to say the Russia collusion. In fact, the one that I definitely would be the fucking apparently in Russia they had a bunch of prostitutes to pee on him, pissgate, like that shit. Like that's something you could definitely sue for.
How could you sue for that? They're reporting on a dossier they found. Are they not allowed to do that?
No, a dossier. They presented it like it was true.
No, they didn't. They presented. First of all, the only people that actually published the dossier was BuzzFeed. The only reputable people was BuzzFeed.
There was more people around. BuzzFeed were the originators.
Sure.
Of the story.
Well, no, the story had been floating around for like months beforehand, but like I don't believe CNN ever published it.
The guy was trying to hand the dossier to a bunch of places and they didn't want it. Then BuzzFeed ran with it, and then a bunch of other places ran with it. But the fact is, as a news organisation, hi there, I'm an anonymous man. Here is a pile of paper claiming all this bullshit. I have nothing else to back this up apart from this pile of paper. Right? I was like, come on. So
you think that like anybody that ran stories...
Let's not even call it malicious. Let's just call it negligence or recklessness.
So even anybody that published
still fall under libel.
Anybody that published stories about that dossier, then you think could be sued for libel or defamation?
See if they turn around and say this original X claimed, and then like sometimes you can get rumours as well. I don't know. It varies from country to country. Sometimes rumours like can actually fall under libel if you're spreading information that you know is false. But then
nobody could have known that. Nobody knows that the dossier is false, though.
Yeah, like, but the fact is, recklessness and negligence as fucking huge news agency.
This is literally the first paragraph of BuzzFeed's post. A dossier compiled by a person who has claimed to be a former British intelligence official alleges Russia.
They get caught altering that. They changed that.
Alleges Russia has compromising information on Trump. The allegations are unverified, and the report contains errors.
No, that's one thing that BuzzFeed get caught doing. See, after they dropped the original story, shit kicked off and they edited the original report. They edited it, because it's happened to me as well, like fucking the papers printed absolute lies about me and then they fucking went back and edited their articles. They do that. Online, just simply go in and just change the text.
So this might just be...
Joe Bish, who works for Vice, just did that in his story about Lauren Southern, where he basically called Lauren Southern a real doll, and it was a sexist remark when he's supposed to be a feminist, and he shit himself when he get called out for that, and he went back and changed it. News agencies do that all the time.
Yeah, print retractions and whatnot. Usually, if you want to be credible, you'll do that. You'll modify what you've published.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to be credible, but a lot of places, especially CNN, don't do that.
That's absolutely not true. CNN will edit stories. CNN. CNN fired like a few of their editors over a story where they had like I don't want to say a minor mishap, but it had to do with what was it? It was determining whether or not Flynn had contacted people in Russia, whether or not this was pre or post election. There were people that got fired over that shit, and there are other huge ramifications that came down for Russian related stories as well. CNN has been pretty careful on most of their reporting related to that. If you have examples to say otherwise, I'd be interested in hearing it, but.
The fact is, as well, that's people being punished for what they have to say, though.
For what what do you mean?
So, in other words, they did wrong. But see how, for example, if CNN take action against the people doing that, then that would be fine.
Wait, what?
No, if CNN want to take action on stuff like that, then that's fine. Like, if I'm working for a company and then I tell a bunch of lies while I'm working there that would reflect that company in a bad light, then that company can fire me. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't agree. Right, I don't disagree. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I'm using it as a precursor to a point, man. Like, you feel like me finish. But the fact is, as well, even if they do fire the employee, the company is still open for libel.
Okay. Well, thankfully, I mean, we have
Trump
different.
Trump still has the same rights as everybody else. Trump still has the same rights as everybody else. Doesn't matter who you are.
I think that because it's really ironic, but I think it's because I'm an American. I have like much more strong views of like media independence, I think, than you do. I don't think we're going to agree on this. In the United States, I don't think the government should be able to chase down the media for anything, because I think that freedom of the press is one of the most important protected rights in the United States. It seems like we disagree on that, but I wouldn't want anybody in the media to be scared that the government is going to. No,
But
you're very
the thing
much
is,
your views on
it's-
freedom of the
it's-
press are very, very different than mine. You have a very anti-press related view. If you think that anybody in government should be able to take the press to court because they say mean things about them, and then you point out the dossier that was handed to BuzzFeed by one of like the most well-respected intelligence agents, like of all, like Steele is like that guy was a really well-respected person. But
hold on, let me just jump here real quick. There's one super chat I want to read. Super chat. I want to pound through this one. The Guardian for $10 asks, let's change the circumstances. If a news site claimed Trump abducted a mentally retarded girl from her home and coerced her into doing sexual acts in order for her to get pregnant, how about then?
So the way that the standards work right now for defamation is that you have to, there is like an actual malice standard. You would have to be able to take them to court, and you would have to be able to prove that they published this information maliciously, that their goal in doing so was simply that they knew it was false and that they were just trying to damage Trump's reputation. I'm really uncomfortable with the idea of anybody in government going after anybody in the media in a legal sense. That should make anybody that's a huge proponent of free speech very uncomfortable.
That brings us back to like see how the episode, like, obviously not as major as abducting a disabled girl and getting her pregnant. See how the original Feeding the Fish, like, if you watched the clip, literally watch the next 3 seconds of the video.
I've seen the clip. I don't think this is a big...
Yeah, but this is the thing, is the media purposefully left that out and portrayed it maliciously. So that literally would fall under it. So under your own terms, that would fall under libel. And Trump, and you keep saying the government. It's not the government. It's Trump as a private citizen.
Trump isn't a private citizen. He's the president of the United States.
Okay, as a citizen of the United States, you know, because when you're president, you can still be a citizen, right? And you still have the same rights as everyone else.
But you have a totally different set of responsibilities.
Okay, then you've got a different set of responsibilities. That might be the case. But you still have the same rights as everyone else. He could still, under the way you've described what libel could be then, they knew that was fake, and they portrayed it maliciously, obviously, to tarnish his character.
Sure, and other people could call him out on it, and they post, I don't know if they retracted that or not, or I don't even remember who originally reported that, but I know that a lot of people called him out on it. They got called out when they reported that Martin Luther King bust, I think it was a Martin Luther King bust, was missing from the White House. Apparently that had just been on loan or something, and the Trump administration hadn't actually removed it. Like, yeah, people make mistakes, and they get called out for it, and then they change it. I just don't understand how you can be comfortable, or maybe you just are because you like Trump. I don't know how you can be comfortable with somebody who's the president saying that they're going to start suing the media for posting mean things about them.
As a private citizen,
he's not a private citizen.
He is.
He's not. He's the president of the United States. He's not just a private citizen. Okay, we're not going to agree on this. This is like delusion. I don't know.
Listen,
it's delusional to think that just because he's the president of the United States doesn't mean he's not a private citizen. It's a totally different role.
Okay, and private. Okay, like, remove the private. Maybe that was the wrong term. Obviously, he's a public figure, but at the end of the day, he's still a citizen and has the same rights as other citizens of the United States.
Okay. I don't think we're going to agree on this. I think we see the government has different roles.
That's not me presenting an opinion. That's a fact.
Okay, well, no other president, like in the history of the United States, has sued a journalist company for defamation. I, as an American...
Okay, this will be a nice first, then.
Yeah, maybe. It would be a Trump thing to do, sure. We just have different views. I think I'm more stringent. Like, you've been giving all the arguments for, like, deplatforming. It's very funny. For the past 45 minutes, you've been arguing in favor of, like, shutting down free speech. I'm very much in favor... Yes, you are! I'm very much in favor of freedom of the press. You're here telling me that if Trump says that somebody posts a mean thing about him, he should be able to take him to court. You're massively anti-freedom of the press. Like, that's the argument that you've been given right now. That you're saying
not.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's not good to want the press to be honest.
Why do you present this false dilemma? You think the only way the media can be honest is if
I want the press to be honest. I'm sorry.
And the only way the press can be honest is if the government holds them accountable. Why can't other people in the press or other private citizens hold the press accountable?
Because nobody fucking is, Destiny.
Plenty of people are. What do you mean? Everybody is.
Even in my country, the newspapers branded me as a Nazi, and I lost jobs and shit. And the only thing that could have fucking protected me was the Independent Press Standards Organisation. And I filed a claim in with them and basically sent them actual factual evidence that proved the press were lying. I even reported the fact that every member of my family, we calculated it, and it came to about 80 phone calls from one journalist who said that she wasn't going to stop calling until they got a comment from them, and she didn't stop until we said we'd get the police involved for harassment. I sent all of that evidence to IPSO, and they told me to go fuck myself. The press get to do whatever the fuck they want, Destiny, and I have no problem at all with them being held accountable for being malicious.
Okay.
Right, you can turn around and say there shouldn't be any legal consequences.
No. Well, you're presenting all of these arguments that I haven't made. I have no problem with holding the press accountable for being malicious. I just don't want the government doing it.
But, well, the government's not doing it. Trump, as a citizen, is doing it.
Okay, and then Jeff Sessions, as a citizen, can be his representative. This is such a dumb. I don't know. Never mind. I think we should just move on to that. We're not going to agree on this.
Let me ask you this real quick. If there's grounds for libel and defamation against Trump,
there's not.
Who would be the one to sue him if there was?
I don't know. It would probably be Trump, I would imagine.
But you just said that the government shouldn't be able to do that.
No, I don't. I don't think the government should be in the job of regulating the media. As somebody that values freedom of speech, that is a scary concept to me. I don't want somebody thinking twice on whether or not they should publish, especially when you talk about something like the dossier. I don't want somebody in the media thinking, should I publish this? Well, I don't know. I'm really scared that if I do, the state will sue me. Something like that makes me very uncomfortable.
We've already established it's not the state then. So would it be the case then, let's say Trump doesn't get voted in for his next term, right? And then presidency's over. That's him. He's out the door. Is he then allowed to sue all of these?
Yeah, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. When he's no longer the president, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. I don't give a fuck. He can go can go after whatever he wants to go after.
Right. So, but just the fact is, the only difference is it wouldn't be the government suing. Either way.
It would be Trump, a private citizen, not Trump, the president of the United States. Not Trump, the president of the United States.
See, if it was regulating the media, you'd be telling them what they can and cannot post. That is restricting free speech. That is restricting.
And Trump has said he doesn't want people posting mean stories about him.
See, if it's true, they're completely allowed to post it. Completely allowed.
Okay, well, a guy that will tell blatant lies is not somebody that I'm comfortable going after the media for what he perceives to be lies, because I don't know what the fuck Trump thinks is true or not. Trump said that 3 million people illegally voted in the last election with absolutely no evidence, and he just recently shut down his commission that was investigating it because it was totally fucking fake. I don't want a guy like that makes up blatant falsehoods to be in charge of regulating honesty in the media. I would rather the free market or the private market be in charge of that. Other media organizations or other citizens or watchdog groups or independent advocacy groups, I would rather them regulate the media than the government or the president.
You just said at the start of this that the origin of the argument is that you were happy with deplatforming.
Yes, I'm not the president of the United States.
That's not the point I was making. That isn't the point I made there.
I'm not the president. Me deplatforming somebody is not the same as the president deplatforming someone. Do you not understand that? I'm sorry, let me repeat it for a fourth time. You understand that I'm not the president of the United States, correct?
Stephen, are you okay?
I don't know.
Are you okay?
Why do you keep comparing me to Trump? I'm not the president, dude. I have a different set of responsibilities and obligations to the American public.
Stephen, are you really okay? I just want to know if you're okay.
I don't know. I feel like I'm in a Black Mirror episode. I'm being tortured right now until my mind fucking explodes, I think. I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like none of this is real either.
You just spent the last hour talking to me about why a form of deplatforming, the president of the United States going after media, is okay, and this is supposed to be a free speech debate where you're telling me that I'm anti-free speech. I don't understand what this whole conversation is about.
I'm not sure. I've already made my position clear. I'm not sure how else I can
You said that the
explain it
dossier is an example of fake news. The dossier was given to BuzzFeed by a pretty credible foreign intelligence agent. You don't think they should be allowed to publish that? That is the most anti-media free speech stance I've ever heard in my life.
That's the fallacy, man. Just because someone has an experience in a field doesn't mean that they're infallible.
It does. I never said...
Right.
Is there some... Hold on. Do I have somebody muted in this call? Did somebody just say that I said that somebody would be infallible? No, I don't see anybody else in here. I'm sorry, I must have missed that. Or sometimes words, maybe I've got Tourette's or whatever, or Tourette's.
Do you want to know the thing that I'm actually getting kind of excited about, man? Is I've watched your streams and I've watched your debates, and I actually feel kind of giddy that I'm getting to experience this firsthand.
Firsthand? Where you say dumb shit and it runs me around in circles? It does trigger me, dude. You got me triggered. I'm not gonna lie. When a guy comes on here who wants to argue extreme free speech, who's in favor of the government attacking the media, that you got me for a loop there, dude. You totally got me, man.
I don't
Dude, it's not hard to trigger you. I literally just need to tweet at you, I disagree, and you go off on a big fucking rant.
When has that
Right,
ever
it's not hard
happened?
to
I
trigger
usually
you.
go off when I say A, and then you go, oh, so you think B? And then I go, no, but we can discuss A if you want. And then you go,
Really?
oh,
That's-
he dodged the debate, boys.
That's quite funny, man, because you've been doing that to me this entire
That's exactly.
fucking
Do you remember when I tweeted almost word for word, I think that Christianity is a larger threat to America than Islam? And then you said, really? Do you want to argue about Christianity versus Islam? And I was like, well, in America, sure. And he's like, oh, he's changing the topic, boys.
What was that part? Go back and repeat what you just said there.
Where you said I was changing the argument when my very first tweet about the issue was Christianity versus Islam in America?
Just say every that part.
Yeah.
When you said Christianity is an extremely big threat, and then I said something along the
I
lines
said Christianity
of, like,
was a
at least
bigger
that's
threat to the
Islam.
United States than Islam.
And I turned around and I said something, I can't remember my exact tweet, but I said something along the lines of, at least it isn't Islam. I turned around and says, well, Islam is a bigger threat to the LGBT community and stuff like that. And then you wanted to have a chat about it, and I says, okay, then just to confirm, the chat's going to be Christianity's treatment of LGBT versus Islam's treatment of LGBT. And then you went, yeah, in America. Right? That was
No,
I don't
want to argue about history. Like, somebody can go look up the very original tweet. We've got chats here. If somebody wants to look up the very first tweet, I said in America in the very first tweet. If somebody wants to go look it up in the very first tweet, we can do it.
No, right. The fact is, I said
No, I don't want to talk about. Just find me the tweets. I don't want to talk about your interpretation of the events.
I think I know why you don't want to talk about this today.
How about instead of finding the tweet, why don't you talk about the subject of the tweets? Destiny, why do you think?
Like the whole
Christianity
point
is
was,
a bigger threat in America?
my position was, and when it comes to the treatment of LGBT, Islam is a lot worse than Christianity. I wanted to basically have a discussion about that, and then he says, well, yeah, in America, well, obviously Christianity would be the worst there because they have the majority, they've existed there
Okay,
longer, all that type of
let's
stuff,
follow.
right?
Let's follow the chain. The first tweet that I made was in the
Wow, you
United
found that
States.
fast, yesterday.
That's
You
what
found that
this is what a
fast.
fan base is for. In the United States, Christians are a bigger threat to our freedom than Muslims by far. Not sure how many people failed to realize this. Somebody quoted that tweet and said citation needed, and then I quoted his tweet and I said, "You're invited to come on and chat. This is the easiest argument in the universe to
That
defend."
wasn't me. I
No,
never
you
said
didn't
that.
say that. I said somebody else said. Somebody else said citation needed, and I said, "You're invited to come on and chat too. This is the easiest argument in the universe to defend." Then you quoted that tweet and you said, "I could hop on now if you wanted to." So to clarify,
No, there was more before that. There was more before
I'm
that.
literally reading the tweets. If you want to find more, go ahead. You said
There was-
you quoted
there was
my
more
tweet.
before
You
that.
quoted
There was-
my tweet. I'm looking at your tweets right now, dude.
Why would I, just as a random person, without any kind of precursor, go, I could hop on now if you want? I wouldn't just do
I don't
do that.
fucking know. You
There
tell me.
was
I'm
more-
looking at your tweets. You quoted mine and you said
there
I
was
could
more
hop on.
before that. Look at you lying right now, man. There was
Dude,
more
here, I'll
before
link you the
that.
tweet. Go fucking find it then. I'm reading your tweet. You quoted mine and you said, could hop on now if you wanted. So to clarify, the debate topic is treatment of LGBT communities by Christians versus treatment of LGBT communities by Islam. And then I responded to yours and I said, whether or not Islam or Christianity is a bigger threat in the United States, which was my original
Right.
tweet.
So you've just turned around and says, you're invited to come on and chat too. So obviously I would have had to have said something to you before that point for you to even know that I existed or was in the conversation.
Your
right? So there was
first,
more
you
before that.
tweeted against, you quoted my tweet and you said, could hop on now
And what did I say?
You said could hop on now.
No, I didn't just that. You're acting like me saying could hop on now if you wanted, as was my first point of contact. No, it wasn't.
Okay, what was the first point then? Then find me the first point, because this is you quoting a tweet that I didn't even tweet at you.
Really? Well, can't your fantastic fan base find it for you?
Well, they can't find it if it doesn't exist. Okay, guys, there is an earlier tweet. Go ahead and find it for me. You know what? We're actually going to sit here and we're going to wait until we can find this tweet. I want you guys to see if you can find it, because this is you quoting my original tweet. Why would you tweet at me before and then you quote another tweet? I guess maybe you did. I don't know. Somebody find it for me. This is like fake news at its core right here.
This is some.
Okay, hold on. Somebody found an earlier tweet. Let's see if we can read the earlier tweet.
Right, okay.
This is some high level gay shit. Can we get back to freedom of the press? I think.
Oh, this is from 2 days ago.
Yeah.
This isn't related to this, but.
All right. Well, while you're looking for this, I'm going to pound through the super chats. Let me know when you're.
Go,
Yeah,
dude.
for it.
Super chat me up. Super chat.
Super chat. $2 from Dr. Fu. BuzzFeed, the capital of mansplaining. Sargon. $2 from Chat Mort. Chris Chanity. Okay, we'll go with that. $5 from Anthony Reaper. Autism, thy name is Destiny. $10, thank you, from Gaming Wiz. The president can engage in a lawsuit. The judiciary automatically has more power in that regard. Being the president has no bearing on that. $5 from Dr. Food. Destiny is a trap because Marcus is going full white male privilege inside the tiny virgin boy pussy. Marcus, drink water. You're dehydrating from lulls. The Guardian for $5. Destiny requires president of the U.S. to advocate. I'm not sure what that word is. His station in order to defend himself against libel and slander, he must hate freedom of speech. $5 from Down Forward Punch. Obama's DOJ had Fox News journalist James Rosen jailed. I don't know the validity of that. The Minuteman says Destiny thinks. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think my mic. Okay. Destiny thinks saying "stop lying about me," which would have to be proven in court, is the government controlling the media. SC Joe for $5 says, what legislation is on the books or has been passed by Trump to prosecute the media? Do you know how the fucking government works, Destiny?
Apparently, I'm the only one here that does. Yeah.
If Trump were to sue the media with his own money, lawyer, etc., would it be okay? Would the man?
No, I don't like the idea of that, but I like freedom of the press. I'm sorry that bothers the fuck out of some Europeans so much. As an American, I have a fundamental distrust of government. I understand that Europeans.
I'm not European.
No, I know. I'm talking to Dankula. But like, as an American,
wait. What did you just call him?
I don't know. Where the fuck are you from?
Scotland.
Well, you're. I'm okay.
What did you just call him, Destiny?
Ooh, that's
Did you just call him Dankuda?
I don't know what the fuck is Dankula.
Dankula.
Okay.
Most people call me Daddy.
So anyway,
I can be called Daddy. With Stephen.
I'm sorry. Does the United Kingdom not count as Europe anymore? I'm sorry. I'm an ignorant American. Am I confused?
Well, we voted to leave the EU, but also
I'm sorry. I didn't know that the European Union stood for the continent of Europe.
All right, I'm trying to get through the super chats as much as possible. I'm sorry.
Am I being gaslit right now? I'm so confused. Holy shit. Okay, so European, as you are, right? So as an American, we typically have a fundamental distrust of government. This is why we fight so much about like social health care and shit. I guess as a European, maybe you have more trust of your government, but that's not how we run things here in the United States. That's why we don't get thrown in jail for teaching our dogs to do Nazi salutes or whatever. I prefer to keep things that way. If you disagree, that's fine. I don't like the idea of members of my government going to court against people in the press for publishing stories about them that they don't like. If you don't see how that can be abused or misused, then we just have a fundamental disagreement on what freedom of the press should look like.
Okay, then, so that basically means that the press would be able to print absolutely any story that they wanted and essentially possibly tamper with the government itself, which means that the press would actually have quite a lot of hold over the government if they were completely immune. That'd be a dangerous precedent, I think.
Real quick.
Yeah, go.
Domestic Idiot did a $5
Don't you?
super chat. Clinton v. Jones, 95 through 1853. 520 U.S. 681. 1997, Trump can sue. So I guess there is standing for that.
Okay. I'm pretty sure Trump can sue. We're not arguing whether or not he has the capacity to do so. But, so I believe in free markets. I don't know if you're a capitalist or you might be a leftist. I'm not sure. I would hope that other media organizations can hold the media accountable. If the free market is capable of performing a job, I prefer to leave it to the market rather than having the government solve it. I would never want the government in the business of regulating the media. What?
Of ideas, though?
What?
Don't you talk a lot about the free market of ideas?
Yeah, sure. What about it?
But you want people deplatformed?
Yeah, for spreading like misinformation. Yeah.
You mean like the media?
Sure. Oh shit! Hold on. I'm sorry. I forgot to mention this. I'm not the president. You keep forgetting that. It's okay, but I can be here to remind you. No, I can be here to remind you. It's okay. Because I know that maybe in Europe you guys see like every white guy in the United States. You think we're all the president of the United States, but I'm not the president, my dude. So my personal stances on things are going to be a lot different than what I would expect the president of the United States to have a stand on. But that's okay. I'll keep reminding you if you keep forgetting. It's okay, my dude.
I'm just going to go along with your little narrative then, right?
No, it's all good, dude. I can remember. I know that sometimes you get. Are you the king? Are you Prince James or whatever? If you're Scottish, do you have like ties to royalty in the United Kingdom as well? You guys like?
Destiny.
Stop! I don't want you to get arrested because you're on a live stream. Can you edit this footage so he doesn't get fucking thrown in jail for Nazi salutes? I don't know if that's legal or not in the country that he comes from.
He was just waving hello.
Yeah. Okay. Like, so what he taught his dog to do. So anyway, I'm sorry. So I'll repeat that like for the 72nd time. I'm not the president of the United States. I hold private citizens to different standards than I do public servants or people in government. But yeah, maybe I should add not the president of the United States to my Twitter bio. Maybe that'll help you a little bit, but...
No, fucking hell, man.
This is a good conversation.
Basically, by Destiny's standard, I can say Trump is a cowfucker and he'd have to roll with it. No, what I would hope is that somebody else in the media would call them out. Again, if you guys don't believe in the free market, if you guys think that the government should be in charge of regulating the media, that's cool. I don't like state-run media, and I don't like the state interfering in the media. But that's just me as somebody that really appreciates freedom of the press. I'm sorry.
Okay, one more thing, because I have to piss again. But if the president, if somebody writes just a blatantly fake article about just pick a congressman, the congressman shouldn't be allowed to sue them for defamation.
No, I don't think I think that they can make whatever statements they want publicly about it, but I don't think that we should get into the habit of having officials in government taking members of the press to court. I think that sets a very scary precedent, and I would never, ever, ever in the future of all the press want somebody debating on whether or not they should publish a story and then decide not to because they're scared that somebody in the government is going to sue them.
I guess it just all depends on the courts if there's going to be someone sued, right? Like if
no, anybody can sue anybody for any reason. You can sue anybody for any reason you want in the United States, at least.
But you're not going to win every time.
It doesn't matter. If you're loaded with money, you can do whatever the fuck you want. It's going to court costs money. Even if you're the defendant, going to court costs money. Countersuing isn't always a guarantee. Like, I think you guys have a very I'm not trying to say this to be condescending, but I feel like you guys have a very naive view of how courts work.
It's definitely not like you to be condescending, Steve.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying not to, but when I'm talking to literal children, Dankula, sometimes it catches up with me.
Destiny, the literal children. Come on, man.
So,
I'm telling you, man. Come on.
You got me, dude. So, like, there are people that literally like make a living like have you ever heard of patent trolls? People that will tie you up with frivolous legislation in court just to bankrupt your company. Like the court system in the United States is it's its own beast. It's its own monster. The idea that we would want members of the press scared to publish a story because somebody in government is going, especially when so many people say like Seth Rich was murdered by Hillary Clinton, blah, blah, blah. You want these same people able to take members of the press to court for publishing stories? That's insanely scary to me. That idea frightens me. And as somebody that values freedom of the press, that is not a future that I would want to see America go down.
Trump's still a citizen, and he has the same rights as everyone else, and he can sue if he wants. I'm sorry, it's not the government doing it, it's him.
I know, he's just a guy. He's not the president. He's just a guy, dude.
See if I work for Tesco, and someone's talking shit about me, and I sue them, it's not Tesco suing them. Right? I'm sorry, that's not the way it works. Like, I don't know why that you think that
private companies and private citizens work differently than public officials and public servants and the president of the United States. Like, I don't, but I mean, I guess we're never going to agree on that.
I mean, someone on a personal level, he's not allowed to use government support. He's not allowed to use government funding.
It's not a matter of him using government funding. It's a matter that he's acting in the capacity as president. That's what he's doing. It's not the fact that I don't think he's going to sick the DOJ on you. I just don't want the president of the United States, even as a private citizen, taking people to court for things that he thinks are mean that they published about him. I don't think that's right. That's scary. If you're a proponent of free speech, that should bother you.
How do you feel about social consequences for the things that you say?
Okay, let me preface this with, I am not the president of the United States, but I think that social consequences are probably fine. Sure, with things that you say, sure. Social and economic consequences.
What about economic consequences? So do you feel that people should be fired from their jobs for the opinion that they hold?
If it's not shared at the workplace, I generally think this is a very negative thing. So, for instance, if somebody is a staunch Republican or conservative, I don't think this type of person, assuming they keep their political views out of the workplace, should ever be fired from a job. I'm very much against attacking people economically like that. I thought you were talking about like news organizations, sorry. But for private citizens, no, I don't think that people should ever be able to come after your job because you express a political opinion, however radical, that you disagree with.
Okay, then no, that's fine. That's fine. I feel the same way. I don't feel that people should be free from like public criticism. Like if you go in public and you claim something ridiculous, then people are allowed to turn around and say, "Well, that's not fucking true," and argue against it.
Kind of, but the problem is that that kind of stuff is very problematic because in today's world, when people call you out publicly and it winds up on the internet, you can lose your whole fucking life for it, which is not.
Yeah, but that can be the thing as well. That is basically. I feel that companies should remain completely apolitical. Nothing to do with politics.
But a company can't do that. I can give you a couple of real life examples. Remember the woman that
it should be that should be the case, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but the company can't do it not because of the company, but because of society. So let's say for instance you have that one company.
That's the cry mob though.
That's the what?
That's the cry mob. The cry mob basically, because people found it out about me, but I'm luckily where I work for now. I'm not going to get fired for my political opinions because the person I work with is my friend, and even though me and him disagree on very, very many things, he would never fire me for my political opinion. Like,
okay, that's cool.
Very,
and if they don't, if they don't, that's cool. But a lot of companies, if they start to face economic pain for it, they will fire, and they probably should. As sad as it says, because your obligation is.
But don't you feel like that is people? So, for example, that would end up being in a way sort of majority rule. Basically, if enough people boycott a company, they can have this person punished. So basically, the social consequences can then overlap into the economic ones.
Yeah, that's a scary thing. Yeah, it's really fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not right, though, is it?
I would argue no. Other people would argue yes, but I would argue no, that you shouldn't be able to threaten a person's economic livelihood depending on their political views. I mean, if you're literally like calling, to be a little bit more nuanced, if you're like calling for the murder of like a group of people or whatever, then I'm okay with that. But if you're just like an extremist... What?
Yeah, there's a big difference.
Sure,
there.
But if you're just like an extremist right-leaning person or something, you know... So like, for instance, the James Damore kid? Yeah, so like if somebody like that had spread that memo around like in his free time or whatever, or between like a group of people that he knew like outside of work, I would have no problem with that. But
the thing is, it wasn't just him. He wasn't just portraying his opinions. This was him directly addressing the paradigm at work. It was a criticism of the workplace itself.
Sure.
And the thing is, I've spoken to him personally, and like everything he said in that document was true.
Sure, but there were appropriate ways to deal with something like that. Spreading a document like that around his workplace was probably not the way to do it.
I'm sorry, but workplace feedback, though, he didn't like the paradigm at work. It was a criticism of the way his actual work itself operated. So he basically expressed it to the workplace itself. I mean, if you
but it wasn't through an appropriate channel. So, for instance, let's say that I'm managing my restaurant and a VP. I've got problems with him. The way that I would address a problem with him would be either to I would either contact HR if this was like a human relations problem, or I would email his boss and then CC him, and then we would set up a meeting for a discussion or something like that. I wouldn't circulate a document around work. So regardless of whether or not you agree or disagree with James Damore, what he said, I'm saying that I could see Google's side for firing him more so than I could see somebody firing somebody just because they said something publicly.
It was the text they included in it. It wasn't Google. Whenever Google wrote about why they fired him, it wasn't due to the way he circulated the message. They specifically said it was for the content of the message.
Okay, I mean, and if Google fired somebody like that for doing something that was never shared at work, I would have a problem with that as well. Sure, but I mean, I can understand.
I know people that have been fired from their jobs because basically the workplace found out that they were a member of the SDL. You probably don't know who they are, but like, have you heard of the EDL? Have you heard of Tommy Robinson?
No, I haven't.
Right, the EDL were classed as the English Defence League, and what it was supposed to be was basically they were quite anti-immigration. They were mostly worried about the Islamification of Western culture. They weren't founded on the basis of racism, but a lot of people misconstrued the message, and it ended up a lot of racists did get in. Right, and what happened was there was also the SDL offshoot, and there's actually a lot of infighting. There's the people that basically just want to protect their borders and protect their culture, and it's sort of them versus the racists, because they do exist in it, right? So there's a lot. I
would have to like look into it because we might have different definitions of what racist means. So I'm not sure.
Oh no! This is just like a for example. And what happened was, people found who were members of the SDL. People are now trying to dox them and basically tell on them to their work to try and get them fired. And the reason that fucking completely backfired is Tommy Robinson originally. And Tommy Robinson's not a racist. Lots of people will say that he fucking is, but he's not. And they managed to get him fired from his job and basically made him unemployable. And the funny thing is that hilariously backfired because the man had a lot of free time in his hands, and now he's probably one of Britain's biggest activists. Everybody knows who he is. He's publishing books. He's speaking to fuck tons of people and getting his message across to a lot of fucking people. So the thing is, like, that ended up backfiring on them, and I just thought that was actually quite funny. That as well. Like, with me as well, I was a little fucking nobody. I just fucking used to sit in my room and play games and fucking smoke weed. And now one of the parties that wants to get me put in prison, I'm turning fucking hundreds of... I had so many messages for my video the other day. So many fucking messages of people saying that they're not going to vote for the Scottish National Party anymore because of my video. And it's the same party who brought in the legislation that I'm being charged under. So see if they just left me the fuck alone and just left me to be a shitlord. Like, they would have still had hundreds of voters. So this is the thing, is there is a backlash to doing things like that as well. Like, you can end up shooting yourself in the foot by doing things like that. Like, look at James Damore. See if they just left him alone, that would have been a few pissed off people in the office. And then that would have been no problem at all. But instead they fired him. It went fucking worldwide. Everyone found out that Google was a fucking echo chamber, and the company got absolutely thrashed, and its image is permanently fucking stained.
I'm pretty sure Google fired them because they had just come off of like some really rough like things where people were interpreting them as being anti-woman in the workplace. I'm pretty sure that was where a lot of the pressure to fire him came from. It wasn't because people were making a big deal of the document. It's because that document came out like a couple years after Google had like a huge internal thing where a lot of people were saying that women weren't having a good opportunity to work at Google. I'm pretty sure that was the reason why that went down the way that it did.
Well, it's the thing is as well, everything he said, and it was factually true. Like, women are wired differently from men. Like, it was factually true.
Sure, but that's not the argument that people make.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
It's the idea that because women are different than men, they shouldn't be able to do certain things, or we should restrict them in terms of what they have access to. Is typically what the conversation.
Well, I do want to get into this, but I do kind of need to go in like 5 minutes because I've got work tomorrow.
Sure thing.
Right, but I do actually want to talk about that though, but obviously at another time.
Sure thing. You know that I'm not the president, right? We got that taken care of?
Oh no, you're King Manlet, boy.
Yeah, King Manlet, boy. Yep.
How King Manlet?
Thank you.
Right, but anyway, is there anything else you want to cover, like, just before we go?
No, I'm good.
No worries, man. But it was good to finally get to talk to you, man.
Yeah, I enjoyed the experience. It was everything I dreamed it would be.
Fun. Good. Anyway,
this was a good time.
It was. It was good. Good having a chat with you. Thanks very much for hosting it as well, Sinatra, man. Cheers, dude.
Thank you for coming. If you're gonna hop off Destiny, can you stick around for a minute?
Tell me who you bring in first before you bring in anybody. I swear to fucking God.
I'm not bringing in anybody.
Okay.
A lot of these super chats and Streamlabs are questions for you.
Sure thing, buddy.
All right. Anyways, I'm going to duck out just now. But thanks very much, Sinatra. Thanks very much, everyone in the chat, and thanks very much as well, Destiny. Right?
Yeah. Thanks for the conversation, buddy.
See you later.
All right. Let me just switch my scene here real quick. Pop this over like this. All right, we'll just pound through these real quick. Because how'd your thing go with Theron?
Okay, it was just a little circle jerk.
What were you guys even disagreeing about?
We didn't really disagree with anything. We were just a little circle jerk. That's all it was.
Are you guys just playing with each other's generals?
Yeah, pretty much.
$5 from Chris McNeil says, Stephen Bonnell II for president 2020. Come on, boys, we can get that ethical CP. And that shit post to our heart's content, and he can do nothing. Where would you draw the line on where a member of the government can sue someone for libel?
I don't like the idea of anybody. So in my opinion, the way that I see society functioning, the media, the free press serves as a check on the government. Governments will lie. So as an American, I believe that the government will lie, will try to fuck you, and will look out for its own interests at every conceivable turn. This is how the government functions. So the media, in my point of view, exists as a check on government corruption. So the media serves as an investigatory body that is supposed to hold the government accountable. I do not want anybody in government taking legal action or trying to use the courts to ever threaten or suppress anything being done by the media. If the media is misbehaving in some way, I would hope that because we live in a free market society, other media organizations will call them out and hold them accountable, and that the media organization that's lying will suffer some sort of economic repercussion for it. The idea of the government going after the free press is something that is very scary in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not into getting into all that tonight, but we should soon. Thomas Reaper, $5. Destiny is not my president. $5 from Dr. Food. Destiny is running on low energy. Please connect him with the nearest 15-year-old to energize his mental juice. After all, he's the president of the U.S. Seems like my chat doesn't know if you want to be president or not. AB for 10. Trump is not the first president to hold the press accountable as president. John Adams, the Sedation Act. JFK spoke against the media. Roosevelt tried to sue a newspaper from Panama for coverage. Spooky Weep Trash for 10. Destiny, if someone implies...
What does Panama have to do with the United States? What does the Sedition Act
have to do with a newspaper from Panama, I think.
Okay. All right, sorry,
Spooky Weep Trash for 10. Destiny, if someone implies that someone else raped a girl, is that considered slanderous?
It depends on... In order to prove defamation, you've got to prove that the person knowingly and maliciously is spreading misinformation about you. So if they think you did it and he spreads that rumor, then technically that's not defamation because he believes it to be true.
Well, let me get to the second part of this. And can the situation be taken care of in court?
If it's a private citizen, sure. Private citizens can sue each other for whatever the fuck they want to sue each other for. That's why the courts exist, right? And to protect our rights and freedoms.
I don't know if you can with slander just because you believe a certain thing.
Wait, what did you say? I'm sorry, say that again.
I don't know if you can get away with slander just because you believe a certain way.
Against public figures? Yes, you absolutely can. This is something that a lot of people don't understand. This is why I'm waiting for JF to sue me. If you believe something is true, you have every right to publish it and speak about it. The onus is on the person suing you in the United States to prove that you knowingly are spreading misinformation. This standard was set, I believe, in Sullivan versus New York Times. The idea of a malicious drive to defame somebody. If you think that somebody legitimately raped somebody or did something bad and you publish it, if you end up being wrong, that doesn't mean they can take you to court for defamation. They have to prove that you knowingly published a lie about them. That's what defamation is. A lot of people don't understand that. They think defamation is just saying mean things about people or saying mean things that end up not being true about people. That's not what defamation is.
But didn't you know JF didn't rape that girl? I mean, he talked to you about it, didn't he?
JF did rape that girl. And in Texas, the judge agreed. You can statutorily rape somebody that is mentally retarded. If somebody is 19 years old and they've got the mental functioning capacity of a 10 or 11-year-old and you fuck that person, that's considered statutory rape in like 38 states. Mentally retarded people are protected under statutory rape laws as well. Yes. And the judge himself in that case said that he would recommend to the North Carolina DA that there was misdoing here, or there was potentially misdoing, and that they could look into prosecuting Jeff if they wanted to. That's in the judge's own words, not mine.
But he wasn't prosecuted for it.
I don't know if he was or not. I don't know if there's a bench warrant out in North Carolina for JF, but I know that in the facts of the case, he did enough for me to consider it statutory rape, of course, easily, yeah.
Okay. Lord Malice, Seth Rich was murdered by Hillary. The Guardian for 5... They don't work like private sitting. Obviously, they fucking are. There's a legal precedent for it already. Your feelings don't matter here. Destiny.
Wait, what did he say? I'm sorry, say that again?
£2. They, quote, they don't work like private citizens, end quote. Obviously, they fucking are. There's a legal precedent for it already. Your feelings don't matter here, Destiny.
There's a political precedent for not taking people to court for defamation when you're a political figure. And political precedent is pretty important. I mean, that's a fact, not a feeling. I'm sorry if he disagrees with that.
£2 from the King Who Cared. This is a worse slaughter than Bancoburn. I'm not sure what that is. 5 Canadian money from Chris McNeil. Destiny, is there a person that considers paparazzi as credible sources?
The people that buy the tabloids or whatever in fucking supermarkets probably do. I don't read that shit, but what, like TMZ and shit, I guess? I don't know what the question is supposed to mean.
Do you consider the paparazzi a credible source?
Or I don't know, it would depend on what. If they take a picture of Britney Spears wearing an ugly outfit, then it's a credible source for that, but I wouldn't rely on like Russian collusion coverage from a paparazzi. I don't understand.
So you wouldn't take it as a credible source when it came to like political stuff like that?
Why don't paparazzis don't normally report? I don't know. It would depend on the story and what the source was.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Dr. Fu, I'm starting to think Destiny is secretly the president, or maybe the next fear he might try to cast the Scottish. Watch out, alt-right Nazi pugmen. Andrew Marriott for 5. As an American that fundamentally distrusts both the press and the government, I am okay with POTUS using his rights. He is a public.
Yeah, that's great. People have different stances on free speech that I do. That's fine. I'm generally more extremist than most people when it comes to freedom of speech, and I acknowledge that. If you're in favor of the president taking the courts to trial because he thinks that they said something that he doesn't like, that's fine. We just have very different stances on freedom of the press, with mine being far more extreme than yours. But I understand if that's his point of view. That's fine. A lot of people don't really like freedom of speech when people are saying mean things about people they like. I understand that completely. That's why I think freedom of the press and our First Amendment is so beautiful, because it's supposed to protect speech that bothers you. A lot of people forget that. The First Amendment doesn't exist to protect popular speech. Popular speech is by default protected by society. It exists to protect unpopular speech. So, for instance, a news media publishing something that you don't like about you is part of the reason why the freedom of the press exists. But that's just my views, I guess.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you that it's there to protect unpopular speech, but I guess it comes down to if a government figure should be able to defend themselves in a court of law or not.
It just sets a bad precedent. That's authoritarianism. Like the idea of the government taking. I feel like people. Maybe I'll give you guys somebody else to talk to in the future. This isn't really a point that you can disagree with. And a lot of people I think do because they just don't like me in chat. But like if you close your eyes, pretend that I have a different voice and you listen to somebody saying, hey, don't you think it sets a scary precedent when people in the government are taking the media to court? That should bother you. But people are so fucking blinded. They say like, oh, CNN, I hate CNN. Whatever destroys them is fine. Without realizing, well, okay, what if we get another Obama or a Hillary Clinton in office? Would you want Hillary Clinton to be taking people in the media to court for lies or slander? I sure as fuck wouldn't. I wouldn't trust her or any Clinton or any Kennedy anywhere near a courtroom trying to sue members of the press, trying to sue Fox News or trying to sue MSNBC or whatever. Absolutely not. I don't think it's anybody's job in government to be taking members of the free press to court. It just sets a horrible precedent.
Dr. Lehman in the chat has issued you a challenge. He says, debate me on Temple OS.
Temple OS.
$5.
Is this a programmer?
That's a long.
What is Temple OS?
It's a long story. A Temple operating system. It's supposed to help you communicate with the
biblical themed lightweight operating system. Holy shit. Yep. I just saw a video yesterday on the idea that you could theoretically create an operating system within PowerPoint. So I don't know, maybe we can argue about that one next.
You should watch Mr. Mediker's video on Temple OS. The guy who created it is fucking insane.
I mean, I can imagine so, yeah, but okay.
J-Man for 5 said, thanks for putting this together. I need this laugh. The Guardian for 5 says, why is it every time Destiny gets evidence he is wrong that he immediately runs back away from the point? This is very intellectual.
For what? If people prove that I'm wrong on something, I will gladly admit that I'm wrong on something. I got into an argument with a guy a few days ago where he was arguing that sometimes medicine is prescribed there are race-based treatments for medicine. I was under the impression that this wasn't true. He linked a couple of retarded pictures, but I looked into it afterwards, and there are actually prescription guidelines based on the race of people that doctors will use sometimes when they're prescribing medicine to people. That's something that I didn't think was true, and now I learned that that's true. If somebody presents me like a factual argument, I'm only concerned with being correct. That's like the most important thing to me. I don't care about political narratives. This is why I'm not friends with anybody on the left. This is why when I come to talk to you guys, there's always 10 of you and 1 of me, because I'm not interested in pushing a political narrative. I just want to know what is true. So if somebody presents me a factual argument that is better than mine, I will gladly switch immediately. Somebody telling me that they've seen YouTube videos or something does not count as a factual argument in my book. Sorry.
Well, as far as the YouTube videos go, I mean, just because it's on YouTube doesn't mean it didn't happen.
It's not about whether or not it happened. It's that people have cognitive biases that make it so it is impossible for you as an individual to interpret events fairly. You just can't do it as a human. We're not built to do it. You have to be made aware of these biases so that you can fight against them. For an example of this, look at advertising and marketing. This entire industry exists on the assumption of an irrational consumer. If you were a rational consumer, you would never follow an advertisement. You would never follow a marketing campaign. You would just choose the best product, but people don't typically work that way. Look at the entire existence of the casino industry. All of gambling is built on reinforcement schedules that reinforce behaviors because of the way that you learn them. They're rewarding people after a random number of actions. All of these industries are built around the cognitive pitfalls of humans. It's psychologically correct. It's not even a point you can argue against. So when somebody tells me, "Oh no, I'm capable of watching videos and making an informed conclusion," like, no, you have to sift through the data. You have to be very meticulous in how you collect information on a large scale to form a good opinion about something. Otherwise, you can form whatever opinion your mind will lead you to. Your mind is always trying to fuck you. You have to be aware of that.
There's so much I want to talk about, but let's go through these and we'll see where we end up.
Sure.
$5 from Lord Malice. Oh my God, I just walked in and this is a shit show. Love you, Senpai Dank. $2 from Apathetic American. Canadians are Americans because the same continent? ?
Wait, I'm sorry. What did he say? American or
Canadians are Americans because same continent?
Not typically. When I say that, I'm sorry. When I speak about the difference between American and Europeans, this is just something that I notice that typically in Europe, I'm speaking generally here. Generally in Europe, you guys are usually more comfortable handing things off to your government because you have a fundamental view that the government works for the people. This is why even a right-leaning person, even like a Tory person in the United Kingdom, is not going to advocate against the NHS. You guys aren't trying to get rid of your social health care. Generally, you guys have a positive view of the government, and you want the government to be acting in a responsible way. In the now I'm speaking in generalities. There are some people, of course, especially in different countries, that will disagree with this. But this is like a general sentiment that I get from people across Western Europe, okay? In the United States, we fundamentally distrust government. That means that our default assumption is that the government is trying to fuck us, the government is trying to destroy us, the government is trying to do whatever it can to keep itself in power. Our entire system is built around a fundamental distrust of government. That's why, as an American, and that's why I keep saying as an American, because I understand that my views might be a little bit different than somebody in Europe who's okay with handing some things off to government. In the United States, you've got to make a really strong argument for an American to hand things off to the government because fundamentally we distrust the government. Sorry. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, that's a really, really long-winded way of saying that Canadians are not Americans.
Yeah. I'm just sorry. That's why I keep drawing the distinction between American versus European. I know that the Tories have said some things about the NHS. I haven't followed it as closely about having some form of privatization. I don't know if they want to privatize the whole thing. I would have to look a little bit more into that. But sorry, go ahead.
£2 from Glenday. Dank is making me proud to be Scottish. Rip Destiny. $5 from Domestic Idiot. Oh, I read that one already. $2 from Dr. Fu. Destiny is trying to kill Marcus with autism. $5 from The Guardian. Destiny wants to use his 12-year-old slave boys as labor to make sure to get his points for him. Must be why he's wrong about everything in this discussion so far. $5 from Merc. Backpedal some more Destiny. That was amusing.
What did I backpedal on? Okay.
I gotta scroll back.
I actually remember when he donated. He donated when we were talking about Dankula's tweets or whatever against me. Or Dankula, I keep forgetting his name. Sorry. Go ahead.
If Trump were to sue the media, I read that one. Bill Clinton brought a case to the Supreme Court as a citizen to settle a constitutional matter. No one cares that you are scared of something. Cassie B. Destiny equals a public figure, so can I publish lies about him?
Wait, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to ask that? What did he say?
Yeah, Destiny is a public figure. Can I publish lies about him?
Yeah, for the standard that you have to meet, that the malice standard that I talked about that was said in Sullivan versus New York Times, the malice standard that I have to meet as a public figure is very, very high. If you publish something that's wrong about me, so for instance, a lot of people say that I rape 15-year-olds or whatever stupid shit, the chances of me successfully suing you for that are very, very, very slim. Because if I were to take you to court, I would have to prove that you know that that's not true and that you are knowingly publishing misinformation. And that standard is just so incredibly high that as a public figure, it's very high to meet that bar to prove that somebody is knowingly defaming you. It's a really hard thing to do.
Chris for 10 Canadian money. I agree with Destiny about the liable laws for the most part, but stop saying it's because mean things. Christ, outlets on the left spin just as hard as Breitbart, which he complained about. Did you complain about Breitbart?
Yeah, I think Breitbart is atrocious. They just blatantly lie in a lot of their publications, especially anything related to science is really, really, really horribly misrepresented.
Do you think that a left-wing congressperson would be able to take Breitbart to court if they just blatantly lied about them? Probably not.
I mean, I think you can, but again, I wouldn't want anybody in Congress taking anybody in the press to court. I don't think that's a good precedent. I don't like that.
Okay. I think we have an idea of how you feel about that by now.
Yeah.
Malice kitten for £5, I think that is. It's possible. Is it possible for Destiny not to come across as a condescending little twerp?
Probably not.
You do come off as very condescending.
I'm glad I do. I try my hardest.
$5 from Theodore. I don't understand. I don't think you could try harder. Theodore McCarthy said, morally speaking, reporting on the claims of others is defamatory if those claims are defamatory.
Wait, what? What did he say?
Morally speaking, reporting on the claims of others is defamatory if those claims are defamatory.
No, that's absolutely not true. That's bullshit. I don't want if a news organization is going to report news to me, I want it to be reported without them worrying that they're going to be sued because they that other claim might have ended up being wrong. Like, that's newsworthy. I want to know about that. If everything in that dossier turns out to be incorrect, I still want to know about its existence. I don't understand how you, a member, when I say you, I'm speaking generally, not you personally, but you as a member of any democratic government should want things to be published about your government. And even if they end up being like untrue, you should still want access to as much information as possible. And again, like, when you view these things, and I speak from this as my personal experience in this industry for 7 years, right? I mean, this is life lessons for all of us. When you go to sign a contract, or you go to run a business, or you go to engage in a contract or business relationship with somebody else, the thing that should always be going through your mind, and anybody that's had any level of success in business will tell you this, is you should be looking at, how can the other person fuck me over the hardest if I sign this piece of paper? So if I sign a contract, what is the worst fucking thing that could happen, to me? If that horrible thing is really bad, then you would add an addendum or whatever. You would amend the contract in such a way that it protects you from that liability. I view the press stuff and the government stuff the same way. If you look at the worst possible ramifications of setting the precedent where the government can sue media organizations because they publish things that end up being not true. Does this mean that in the future, the media might be able to report something that's very important and very relevant, but they're not exactly sure, like there might be like a 10% chance that this might not be true, and then maybe the media organization doesn't publish that because they're worried that they're going to get taken to court for it? I don't want to live in that world. I don't want that decision to be left to the government.
I just feel like the correct thing would be to try to have more journalistic integrity.
Sure, of course, I agree. And I think that, and as much as it'll trigger your audience, CNN does a pretty good job at punishing people that fuck up stories like that. They did it to the guy that fucked the Flynn story up. They did it to the people that fucked that Russian propaganda story up. They fired I think 3 different people, and then they suspended recently the guy that misreported the Flynn thing. And CNN's not perfect, and they've got some stuff that they fucked up on for sure. But yeah, I mean, journalistic integrity is really important, and other people trying to hold the media accountable is really important. But it bothers me when I see people say things like media accountability is really important, and then these same people are posting videos from Project Veritas. It makes me feel like the people saying that are fucking hypocrites. So for reference, Project Veritas has done some quote-unquote investigative journalistic work, and every single time Project Veritas has blown the lid off of something, when independent investigations come through, and then they start doing investigations into the claims that Project Veritas made, it ends up being not true. Everything that Veritas has been involved in has been total bullshit. And I believe it was either the New York Times or the Washington Post had that story where the reporter went up to talk to the Veritas reporter dude, O'Keefe, and O'Keefe published a video on his Twitter about the encounter. It was totally misleading. And then the other reporter ended up posting the entire video, and you saw how horribly edited the video was in order to make either the New York Times or the Washington Post look bad. I don't remember which one it was. Sorry.
I don't follow Project Veritas that much.
Sure. It's a horrible organization. You shouldn't ever follow it. It's garbage.
The people in my chat are saying Project Veritas will post unedited
They don't.
footage.
They're lying. They're lying. They do not post unedited footage. They did once, I think, for the baby making or for the baby part selling thing. But then when you watched like the 3 or 4 hour clip, you find that the original salacious claims that they made were absolutely misinterpreted. That Planned Parenthood doesn't sell baby parts or something. She was actually talking about like the cost to transport a part or something. It was totally misleading the way that they originally published that story. But generally, O'Keefe will not publish unedited footage.
Yeah, I can't argue that. I don't.
Sure.
I don't follow Veritas so much. Okay, I think that's all the questions. Oh, Destiny, $5 via Streamlabs via PayPal from T-shirt Ninja Zach. Destiny, where are your free speech views on ethical child porn, you degenerate?
I'm not going. This is retarded. This is a retarded point. I'm not doing this again.
You've been getting beaten over the head with that statement on Twitter for a while.
Somebody clipped like a 30-second thing in a 2-hour argument where I'm arguing against pedophilia to make it seem like I'm pro-child porn. I don't know why everybody on that political arena obsesses over child porn so much, but yeah, I don't know. It's just, this is a really boring, tired argument for me. I don't care to get into it over and over again.
Didn't you say that you were in favor of ethical child porn on the Kumite?
Not really. I mean, like, that's not really the take. I really don't want to get into this again. I'm pretty anti-child porn, but I mean, people on that side of the political aisle seem to obsess over child porn quite a bit, so I don't know.
Okay, I think that is all the questions. The rest are just random bullshit. So I guess thanks for coming out. Would you be interested? Oh, Crimson Satyr sent one. Oh, Destiny, do you seriously see no difference between corporate and media free press?
I mean, corporate media is the free press. You could argue that...
I think I read that wrong. I think I read that wrong. Destiny, do you seriously see no difference between corporate media and free press? Okay, I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could argue that corporate media...
as a voice.
Sorry, go ahead.
Corporate media only exists to act as a voice piece for corporate interests.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can argue that there are problems with corporate media. I'm a capitalist, but I acknowledge there are flaws in our system. I do think that's a huge problem that so many of the media organizations in the U.S. are controlled by very few people. Thankfully, the Trump stuff seems to have been a wake-up in terms of getting better reporting out there, although there's still a serious lack of journalism and a serious lack of paid journalists, which are problems that I've talked about briefly with other people before. But yeah, there are definitely shortcomings in the massive media conglomerates that exist in the United States today. I would totally recognize that for sure.
Okay, I think that's about it for. We've been going for about 2.5 hours now.
Sure.
Well, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it. I will try to, if you're interested, set something up with Styx. I think that'd be a really good talk.
If you want to, but he's already invented a whole conspiracy theory about how I'm apparently chasing him down on Twitter or something and spreading lies about him, even though I have no fucking idea who he is or any of the people that are attacking him. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he'll talk to me. But if you think you can set something up, yeah, go for it.
I can serve as a good middleman. I think I was an okay mod tonight.
Yeah, sure. I think so.
I was too big of a dick. Okay, well, I appreciate you coming out, man, and I will let you know on the Twitter what's up.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one. Holy shit. I just want to make an announcement right now for you guys in my chat, in case you guys don't know this, okay? In case you guys aren't aware of this, I am not the president of the United States. You guys all know that, right? Are you guys aware of that? So I'll say something like, I don't think the government should be able to sue somebody for defamation. And then Dankula would go, do you think you should be able to sue someone for defamation? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. And then he'll go, and it's like, huh.